because the time has come, as you see right there, the names on the list. And as we go over everything that we need to go over tonight, this is the eXba draft here tonight. There are the names of the players on the board. They're all their positions. The one player that they feel they may take first, Anthony Edwards out of Georgia, Cole Anthony, North Carolina, James Wiseman of Memphis, Theo Maledon of France, who is a point guard, 6'5". Tyrese Maxey of Kentucky, 6'3". R.J. Hampton of high school, 6'4". And Avija out of Israel, 6'9". And then LaMelo Ball of high school at 6'5", who actually played overseas in Australia this past season. And then Jaden McDaniels out of Washington at 6'9", just in. And Vernon Carey, 6'10", power forward / center out of Duke. And then Precious Achua out of Memphis, and Obi Toppin, who was not only one of the most dominating players in college basketball this past season, but one of the most unheard stories in the world, and his name will be called here tonight, here in the eXba draft here tonight. These are the drafts expressed. These are the positions that everybody's looking at as we kind of take a look. And before we really get going, hopefully everyone's having a good night. This is the pregame show before the big moment of the eXba draft tonight, as you have all of these names, all of these guys hoping beyond hope in 2 rounds, that they are hoping beyond hope in these 2 rounds that their name will be called and they will make eXba history. That this is the first draft. Yes, sir, draft night. And just to let you know why I picked tonight instead of Wednesday was mostly due to I have to take care of some other stuff also before I start season 2, and concerning contracts and everything else, have to take care of those, and then also have to rework the courts a little bit just to get them ready for season 2. So, and I couldn't do that in the off season. Especially after the draft or before the draft, so that kind of stunk there. So yes, we have draft night, my friend. Ryan, how are you doing tonight, my friend? Hopefully you're taking a nice siesta, taking a little breather, taking that little chill that you need, and hopefully one day, my friend, because you know that I think the world of you, my friend, and I certainly hope you find that balance you have, just as I do, with what I'm doing. This is what it's all about right here. Just having fun on your channel, putting out content, and what you need to do to bring in your audience and make them want to be here. And that's really the big factor of this whole thing, of what we call streaming. We stream games for fun, but we also stream because we want to be entertaining, and that's all. The only thing that goes through my head before I come on is that I hope I can be entertaining. So, and in the sense of tonight, yes, draft night is here, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing better, my friend. So get ready. Hopefully you got your popcorn, hopefully you got your soft drinks, beer, whichever what. Hopefully you got whatever you need for tonight. You're doing nothing else. Hopefully you put me up on the big screen on your TV, watching this here on YouTube via your TV, so that you can see the real deal, as all of these names here are going to be picked tonight. So as we take a look at the point guards, no doubt the leader of the pack going into the draft, Cole Anthony is 6'3", out of North Carolina. Then you have Theo Maledon. And then you have R.J. Hampton out of high school. Chips and salsa, tea and Twizzlers. Now I'm jealous, because you got 2 of the 3 that I enjoy. Chips and salsa and Twizzlers, my friend. So, but not to be outdone, I have my own over here, because I knew draft night was going to be a big, huge night here tonight. So I can't tell you what I was doing probably 2 hours before tonight, getting everything ready for tonight. Once I knew in determination of saying, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and get the draft done. So as we take a look at some of the guys that are hoping that their name is going to be called tonight, guys like Cole Anthony, Thurs-Mon, R.J. Hampton, LaMelo Ball, Trey Jones, Nico Mannion, Killian Hayes, Josiah James out of Tennessee, Kira Lewis Jr. out of Alabama, Devon Dotson out of Kansas, Ashton Hagans out of Kentucky. Hey, Mike and Lady, how are you doing? Just as I told Ryan, hopefully you got everything ready for tonight. You put me up on the big screen, and you're ready for the draft night. You got your Cokes, you got your soft drinks, hard liquor, whichever what. I don't know. I really don't know what you drink, Mike and Lady. But hopefully you got your popcorn. Hopefully you got all your snacks. You're ready for tonight. And I tell you, we are going to have a ball here tonight. The first ever eXba draft here tonight. So these are the potentials for draft picks here tonight. Cole Anthony, Thurs-Mon, R.J. Hampton, LaMelo Ball, Trey Jones out of Duke, who is a phenomenal point guard, Nico Mannion out of Arizona, Killian Hayes out of France, Josiah James out of Tennessee, Kira Lewis Jr. out of Alabama, Devon Dotson, Ashton Hagans out of Kentucky. These are the guys. That are hopefully going to have their names called here tonight. How many rounds? 2, my friend. And so, shooting guards, you have Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Maxey, Scotty Lewis out of Florida, Tyrese Maxey out of Kentucky, Jay Scrubb out of Louisville, Josh Green out of Arizona, Tyrese Halliburton out of Iowa State, Samuel Williamson out of Louisville, Malcolm McCollum Catalan out of France, and then Brian Anton out of Villanova, shooting guard there. And then for the small forwards, you have Denny Avija out of Israel, and then Precious Achua out of Memphis, Khalil Whitney out of Kentucky, Patrick Williams, Jordan Nwora out of Louisville, Trendon Walford, who was a phenomenal small forward this past season with LSU. He is hoping his name is going to be called tonight. I wasn't sure if it was like the NBA or not. Well, it's 2 rounds, and that's really what the game is programmed for. So that's what we're rolling with here tonight. So, but yes, LSU. And then power forwards, you have Jaden McDaniels, and then out of Washington, you have Vernon Carey of Duke. The player of the year, Obi Toppin out of Dayton, and what a year he had too, and too bad it was cut short by the coronavirus. But he's hoping his name will be called here in the eXba draft here tonight. Jalen Smith out of Maryland, 6'10" power forward. Isaiah Stewart out of Washington, Jeremiah Robinson Earl out of Villanova, another Villanova man, and then Amar Sila out of Senegal. So, and also Ryan, if you need help with some of these names, just listen to my pronunciation really close. Just listen to my pronunciation really close, and just kind of go, and then just kind of work, things different. Really the names are not that hard. And then at center you have James Wiseman, Nefali Dante, and then of course Charles Bassey in the middle. So only 3 centers in the draft here tonight. So so you have a lot of other positions, a lot of picks in other positions: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and then only 3 centers with Wiseman, and then Fale Dante, and then Charles Bassey. So not a whole lot of big men in the middle. So most people said this is not going to be a very strong draft because of the fact that you only have 3 centers, but everyone else is other positions. So that's going to be quite interesting how it's going to go. Yes, Vernon Carey out of Duke. He's hoping his name is going to be called tonight. And yes, Mike and lady, you're correct. Not Drew Carey, the host of The Price is Right. Anyway, Draft Express, which everybody goes to for picks and everything else, they have decided that the number 1 pick could be Anthony Edwards out of Georgia. Of all the positions taken, Cole Anthony a close second, and then James Wiseman out of Memphis a cool third. The 2K board also has Anthony Edwards, Cole Anthony, and James Wiseman 1, 2, 3 across the board there. Even though they do have, but the shocker between Draft Express and 2K is the fact that they had Tyrese Maxey picked number 5, and here 2K has Avija picked as the 5th pick, possibly the 5th pick in the draft. So that's quite interesting in itself right there. And then eXba.com also really threw everybody for a loop when they decided to go with Cole Anthony as the number 1 pick, with Anthony Edwards behind him, Miladin, LaMelo Ball, Nico Mannon, the 5th pick, Vija, the 8th pick in the draft. So it is going to be interesting how some of these teams are going to be built this year. The Bruisers, they have contracts right now, as you can kind of see the lineup with Derrick Rose, Wesley Matthews, Kevin Durant, James Johnson, and Yusuf Nurkic. And Yusuf Nurkic. He is the youngest of the starting 5 at 25 years old. So needless to say that the guys have to get relatively younger, I guess would be the fair sense of the word for the Bruisers. Now they still had a good year, 40 and 30 this past season, and made the playoffs. But other than that, right now they're in the buying mode. Team is clearly in a buyer's market and will want players that can help it right now. So obviously they're thinking that they are going to be, gunning for the playoffs next season. For the Bandits, with Bledsoe, Okogie, Hunter, Chris, and Davis, now they had a good year, but they do have expiring contracts on the big A train, along with DeAndre Hunter and Nerlens Noel, who also comes off the bench, and he was injured this past season towards the end of the year. So it's going to be interesting. So you're saying Cole Anthony will be the very first pick in the first XBA draft. Well, that is a heck of a pick right there. Mike and Lady, do you have any picks on your end to say what you want? How you think the first pick of the draft is going to go? So the Bandits and the Bruisers are buying and rebuilding. The Bandits, even though they say they're rebuilding, it'll be interesting to see if that is absolutely true, since they did make the playoffs this past season. Now, if they don't get Anthony Davis, that may be quite interesting in itself. But there was, and also will be interesting. Now, for Chicago, most of their starting 5 are in their 20s, except for Goran Dragic and Tyreke Evans, who are both 30 plus years old. And for the management, they're thinking it's rebuild time in BC with Montrezl Harrell, with expiring contracts for him, Spencer Dinwiddie and Otto Porter, possibly with them. The Cannons, who made an unbelievable run in the playoffs this year, have to be looking at some improvements for their lineup. Really, not a bad lineup with Westbrook, Clarkson, Young, Samaljak, and Miles Turner. In the middle, Turner, they made it all the way to conference finals. So, and they also have $34 million in cap space to use towards free agency and whatever else they need to do for next season. the Basket Hounds, oh boy, they finished dead last in the conference. That means they're on target right now. If they don't finish above last place next season, they will be relocated right now. So it will be interesting. You trust my picks? So, but it'll be interesting to see how the Basket Hounds handle the off season and everything else kind of goes from there. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. The Pilgrims clearly in rebuild mode, and we'll be looking to hopefully get some players. Yes, not only do they have Carmelo Anthony's contract up for renewal, they also have Trae Young and Baleka. Also, and 6 other players also due up for contracts. The Alaska Chill, yep, 28-42 this past season. They're hopefully looking to improve on last year, as the oldest member of the team, Jamal Crawford, at 40 years old, no doubt he will be looking to continue his career at 41 in the eXba next season. And then for the Dragons, they're buying, as they think right now they have the pieces to the puzzle to build towards next season, even though this year just did not work out for them at all, going 22-48. So it will be interesting to see what happens here, how everything will work out here. The Colliers finishing 41-29 and making the playoffs, but losing in the first round. But with guys like Markelle Fultz, Oladipo, Rodney Hood, John Collins, and Robin Lopez, there's a lot of improvement there for this team. Of course, with expiring contracts of Oladipo, Collins, and Werder, so some things will have to maybe come under anything. For the champion Cyclones, 39-31 in the first XBA champions. With Steph Curry, but they also do have to look at expiring contracts of DeMarre Carroll, John Henson, and Zach Collins, and 8 other players. So a lot of negotiation will have to go into what's going to be happening in the off season, and hopefully they can make good picks in the draft coming up. For the tempo, they have pretty decent year, 32-38. I don't think is remotely terrible, but obviously big changes will need to be made, as they finished 11th in the conference, 3rd in division, but just not enough to make the playoffs this season. As with a team of basically 20-year-olds, there's a lot of room for improvement there, a lot of room for growth for the tempo there. For the Atlanta Olympians, they'll want to build. They'll want to build off of what, maybe hopefully for more success for next year than what happened for them this past season, when they had a chance to they had a chance to wrap up the 8th seed in the playoffs, and Baltimore actually snatched it away from them because Atlanta went down at the wrong time towards the end of the season. If you look at the 2 videos heading towards the final stretch run of the season, and then the final day of the season, the Atlanta Olympians did not play their best ball during that period. So they're hoping to improve next season. The Miami Night Owls, well, I'll tell you, the only way you can go is up. At 44-26, they made the second round of the playoffs only to lose to Jacksonville, but they do have NC Canumpo contract coming up for renewal, and then of course Kyle Lowry and Dwight Howard, who will be 35, and along with Kyle Lowry, so maybe some changes going there. A lot of changes coming. Yes, they are coming. For the Carolina Fly guys, they're hoping to improve. Most of their starting 5 are in their 20s. One 30-year-old, that's Paul George, and they're hoping to improve on what they had. Much better than last season. For the Jacks, well, I tell you what a season they had. 45-25, made it all the way to the conference championship, only to lose to San Diego. but again, they'll have to really look at Donovan Mitchell. His contract is up for renewal. Paletti, Alonzo Trier, some other guys in there too. So it's going to be a lot of negotiating coming up in the offseason after the draft is over for the El Paso Peppers. I tell you, good ride they had. Made it all the way into the championship run and lost in the first round of the playoffs to Vancouver. But they're hoping to build towards next year. As Chris Paul, his contract is up for renewal. Kelly Oubre Jr., Jabari Parker, and several other players also, as the Peppers want to continue to improve. For the San Jose Cyborgs, a lot of 20-year-olds on this team, couple 30-year-olds with Jay Crowder and Serge Ibaka. But there's room for improvement on the team, and hopefully the 28-42 improvement, much more improved from that record from last season. And for the City Slickers, same thing. Just try to get better, and that's really the big factor. Now you have your center, DeAndre Ayton. His contract is coming up for renewal along with Derek Favors and Thaddeus Young. So there's going to be a lot of changes there. And then for the Los Angeles Leopards, good year, just not enough to get in the playoffs. But Van Fleet, Danny Green, DeMar DeRozan, Taj Gibson, and Al Horford are hoping to improve for next season. For the Jump, well, they signed their head coach to an extension of 3 more years after he still had a year left coming into this season. They went ahead and signed their head coach to a 3-year extension, so that gives him 4 more years as the head coach of the Jump. And with a team of Morris Bellinelli, Simmons, Jackson Jr., and Cody Zeller, boy, I tell you, the future's bright for this team. And hopefully they don't do too much to mess things up for the Dallas Barons. 42-28, and a lot of age with this team. Four out of the 5 starters on the team are in their 30s. DeAndre Jordan, Paul Millsap, Wayne Ellington, and Damian Lillard really up there. So they're hoping to improve in that sense of the words. For the New York Neon, really, you got 3 out of the 5 at 30 years old or over. And then, of course, you got Collison, Green, Draymond Green, JaVale McGee, and then Gordon Hayward, all at 30 years old for the Neon. So hopefully things improve for them. The Summit, yeah, rough year for them, 28-42 with Jeff Teague, Marcus Morris Sr., Enes Kanter, Chris Middleton, Bradley Beal, but things just didn't quite go the way they hoped to. As you can see, they don't have much in cap space right now, but they're hoping to maybe get some good deals coming in the off season. For the St. Louis Arrows, with the big cat Karl Anthony Towns, you got a very young team, all 20-year-olds there, except for Covington, who will be 30 next season. So it will be quite an improvement for them. They hope to improve off their 29-41 record. The Neptunes, 35-35, 500 ain't bad, and especially with a team of Kristaps Porzingis, Daniel Tias, DeAndre Bembry, Buddy Hield, and Dennis Smith Jr. You got a lot of room in there to really continue to just build and get better. And then for Kansas City Buffalo, things didn't quite work out as they hoped, losing in the first round to the Jump as they did by 30. But they hope to improve off their lineup for next year with a team of Hill, Pope, Grant, and Jokic. So they're hoping to improve on that for next season. The Gothics, I tell you, they are a team with Jamal Murray, James Harden, Will Barton, Joe Ingles, and Domantas Sabonis. So it will be interesting to see how next year will go. They finished first in the conference, first in their division, and they were they were the big shocker, losing to Baltimore in the first round of the playoffs. So they're hoping that next year will be better form for next season. And then the Dallas Lawmen with Kyrie Irving, Gerald Green, Rudy Gay, they're hoping things will improve next season at 30 and 40. And then the other concern for the team are the Dragons. The Dragons finishing dead last at 22 and 48. They're also just like the Basket Hounds. Just like the Basket Hounds, they are on the clock right now. So they have another bad year. Then they will also be up for relocation purposes. So the Basket Hounds and the Dragons are both. They have to find a way to improve. Otherwise, take the chance of possibly being relocated for next season. So it is going to determine a lot to see how everything is going to come down to. So we're about 2 minutes away from draft night. As we take a look before we get going, as we take a look at the mock drafts here, Draft Express feels that Cole Anthony will be taken in the first round by the New York Neon, as the Dragons traded that draft pick to the Neon. Everything else was pretty much by the record, with possibly Anthony Edwards to Columbus, to the Basket Hounds, James Wiseman possibly to Phoenix, to the Monsters, Theo Maledon possibly to the City Slickers of France, possibly to the New York City Slickers, as they definitely might need the services of this young man out of France. And then the Boston Pilgrims possibly could pick Tyrese Maxey out of Kentucky, or they could also go with LaMelo Ball, who both him and R.J. Hampton played overseas in Australia this past season. So there's a lot of room to get ready for and to be ready. And then as 2K also picks, but 2K also picks Cole Anthony to possibly be the number one pick in the draft, along with Anthony Edwards at number 2, Maledon at number 3, LaMelo Ball at number 4 with the Slickers, R.J. Hampton number 5, and James Wiseman fell all the way to 8th in the 2K prediction. And then eXba.com had Cole Anthony once again going number 1, with James Wiseman possibly going to Columbus. So that is going to be a big shock as we get ourselves ready. We are about ready for the eXba draft. Thank you very much, Draft Express, and everyone else that has been a big help in preparing this whole thing. Now, 10 o'clock, we are live and in person, and we are ready to go for the eXba draft. As it says right there, the face of a franchise can be changed with a smart draft. So hopefully the information you receive from your scouts is reliable. So as we take a look at the prospect scouting, we have a ton of number of 100 percenters. Marcus Howard, Mamadi Diakite, and then Killian Tilly, Andrew Nebard, Paul Reed, Kenyon Martin Jr., Trevor Anthony, James Drew, Zach Moore, and then you count again to Cassius Winston, 86%. So all of these picks, and then Neemias Queta, 7-footer out of Utah State. He's hoping to have his name called, as this, like I said, this draft is 2 rounds of absolute, let's say, sheer excitement for some teams, and sheer excitement for some teams, and just absolutely, I tell you, it's one of the most stressful things for some teams. So as we get ready here for the draft, so welcome to the 2020 eXba draft. As Adam Silver, yes, he came over from the NBA. Once the league started, he is first pick. So the first team on the clock are the New York Neon, are now on the clock. Now is your time to say who you think is going to go number 1 right now. As Ryan, are you sticking with Cole Anthony going number 1? Is that your pick? As you can kind of see, the social media has been blowing it up here right now. they are ready to go themselves. So it is going to be interesting to see what is going to happen here, as some of the when they had their private workouts and everything, looking at guys like R.J. Hampton had a workout with the Basket Hounds, Jaden McDaniels had a workout with the Basket Hounds, Trey Jones had a workout with the Basket Hounds. They were not too thrilled with him. Jordan Nwora of Louisville had a workout by the Basket Hounds. So I tell you, it is going to be exciting as we get ready once again. So you're saying Cole Anthony, number one. So the New York Neon, who are they going to choose at number one? As the pick is in, and as we will say, Adam, take it away. And the first pick of the 2020 XBA draft, the New York Neon select Cole Anthony from North Carolina. No doubt a smart pick for the Neon, a player that they can build on. Most definitely going to be a good player for them. And this is what Lane Whitaker had to say. He was absolutely impressed with Anthony's ability to play the passing lane last season, as he had almost 4 steals per game, led the nation last season in steals. So that was pretty impressive. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the show. Cole Anthony, picked by the New York Neon. Would have been the California Dragons, but they traded out that pick to the Neon. So I don't know what the Dragons are thinking, but we'll see how, as the draft continues, we'll see what their pick may be for a team that finished dead last in the conference. I don't know if you can afford to give away draft picks like that. So that's as I like to say, that is a huge miss for the California Dragons to hopefully improve their team for next season. But their loss is New York's gain. So they will see Cole Anthony taken by the New York Neon. Now he has outstanding vertical, should be able to provide rim protection. He gets to the rim with ease, makes the most of his opportunities, and plays above the rim, as he is able to finish with authority and hopefully get to the free throw line every time. The weakness is he has none, and he also passed his physical. He averaged 21 points a game last season for North Carolina before the coronavirus cut the season short. He averaged 5 rebounds, almost 6 rebounds a game, and 8 assists a game as the point guard, almost 4 steals a game, and shot 40% from the field, 40% from deep, and was very effective at the free throw line with 82% at the free throw line. And what do the fans on social media have to say? Yes, they are saying, yes, welcome Cole Anthony to the team. A big piece of the championship puzzle is now in place. So that's a big pick. Larry Kuhn also chimes in saying, celebrate tonight, kid, because tomorrow you're playing with the big boys. Hashtag good luck. And some other fans also saying, love that the Neon picked up that kid from North Carolina with the first pick. Cole Anthony is legit. And this other guy says, great selection. Welcome to the Neon Nation, Cole Anthony. You will be in the Hall of Fame when all is said and done. And then the future MVP also had to say, happiest moments of my life, the Neon drafting Anthony, my daughter being born, and getting married. And then number 4, Fridays at 5. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But congratulations, Cole Anthony, as the Basket Hounds are now on the clock, and as they are deciding who they're going to go with, it'll be interesting. Cole Anthony's name has been scratched. Now you possibly have either James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, Theo Maledon, Tyrese Maxey, R.J. Hampton, or even if you wanted to be a little risky, go with the LaMelo Ball at point guard, or Denny Avdija of Israel. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen in the long run here As yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, as the rest of this draft continues, how things will kind of work out for everybody. Columbus Basket Hounds have made their pick, and now they are ready, as Adam will announce who the pick is going to go to. The Columbus Basket Hounds are on the clock, and with that pick, the pick is in, and they choose Anthony Edwards out of the University of Georgia in the 2020 XBA draft. The Basket Hounds obviously felt they needed to improve at shooting guard, so they definitely got, I feel, the right person for the job in Anthony Edwards. And that fact, absolutely oozing with potential, Edwards is the type of player that most scouts will stake their reputation on. So no doubt that is a big plus. Anthony Edwards taken in the draft. He is capable of making medium-range shots in traffic. So not only a guy who can take the tough shot, but also when he's covered, keen sense of knowing what to do with the ball and when to do it. Changes direction with ease, and extremely agile. So that's very good. No significant weaknesses and no medical issues for this young man. So he is taken in the draft. Seems like a good pick. Yes, indeed. Congratulations, Jughead. Welcome to the show. Indeed. Edwards averaged 18 points a game last season, almost 19 a game for Georgia. Had 6 rebounds a game, almost 4 assists a game, almost 3 steals a game, and almost 2 blocks per game. Shot 40% from the field, 41% from deep, but his free throws kind of struggled a little bit. Only shot 70% from the free throw line, so that could possibly be a little bit of a concern there. So Ashburner over here says, I find it very interesting that the Basket Hounds picking up Anthony Edwards with the team's number 2 pick. That's a great fit if he's there, so no doubt, and he was. So the Basket Hounds just selected him. And of course, you always have pickers and guys who just feel that maybe he's not the guy for the team. This young fan actually said, why did they just pick Anthony Edwards? Guess the Basket Hound just clinched a spot in next year's draft. Anthony Edwards is the MJ of this draft. Columbus Basket Hounds will always remember this day fondly. And this other guy, after the Basket Hounds pick Edwards, I felt a great disturbance in Columbus, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror. Okay, yeah, you stole that one from Star Wars. And then this young man, and then this man said, Anthony Edwards is headed to Columbus, and NBA titles are soon to follow. Best pick ever. So obviously you have some naysayers, you have some support. So the feel that Columbus made the right decision. So the Phoenix Monsters are on the clock now, as they are getting their pick ready. As right now that you have Edwards and Anthony off the board, now it goes to either Wiseman, Malodin, Maxey, or Ball at this point. Any of you guys want to see test your draft knowledge and see how you think this next pick may go? You think they may go with Wiseman or Malodin or Maxey or Ball? Because 2K actually has Phoenix picking Malodin, and XBA.com actually had the Monsters picking Anthony Edwards, but Edwards has been taken, so that actually gives the option of possibly James Wiseman, a man in the middle that could play alongside Blake Griffin. So that could be a big plus for the team too. So as the team is getting ready, the picks, maybe LaMelo Ball. Oh, well, I think that might be a good pick there too. So who knows? But part of their team needs right now is not too bad right now. So the Phoenix Monsters on the clock. as Cole Anthony is the #1 pick in the draft for the New York Neon. The Phoenix Monsters are now on the clock. The pick is in. Adam, take it away, my friend. So with the third pick in the eXba draft, you have Tyrese Maxey. Shocking that the Phoenix Monsters select Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky. He was way down on the boards. So obviously they saw something there that they felt they just needed to kind of improve on. And so they'll take a chance with Tyrese Maxey, the 6'3", 188-pound shooting guard of the University of Kentucky. So, and as this man here says, there will be many in the media that will see this as a surprise pick. I, for one, am sold not only on Maxey's upside, but also what he can bring to the table in his rookie season. So obviously he has a very high ceiling for Tyrese Maxey. Now he's a good finisher, could potentially attack the rim, so someone that could possibly get to the free throw line, puts the ball on the string and get a shot off against the best of them. So that's a good thing too, and could definitely develop into a really good player. Now he does have some weaknesses, as some will. Yep, if he meshes with the team. He has questionable basketball IQ and court awareness when he's on defense, and less muscle mass than you'd like to see at his size, even accounting for his age, 19 years old, 188 pounds, so he may need to bulk up just a little bit in order to get himself really ready for the first season of the eXba. He averaged 19 points a game, almost 20 a game at Kentucky, had 6 rebounds, almost 4 assists a game, and just about 3 steals a game and 2 block shots a game. He shot 40% from the field, 30% from deep, and was very effective at the free throw line at 84%. So there's a lot of possibility that that some people are going to say maybe that wasn't the greatest pick in the world. Monsters just selected Tyrese Maxey, the 3rd pick in the draft. So obviously this young lady thinks he is going to be the real deal in Phoenix for the Monsters. This fan actually feels he is going to be an absolute bust. And then this guy feels, oh, may as well go ahead and get the championship parade going. So, and then this guy, this is why I love the draft. Tyrese Maxey at hashtag Tyrese, hashtag Maxey, hashtag Phoenix Strong, hashtag Kentucky, hashtag Monsters Nation. My goodness, that's a ton of hashtags there. So I tell you, you gotta love it when you have surprise picks in the draft. I tell you, he was actually 6th in the draft rank, 2nd in position rank, so that's probably why Phoenix decided to go ahead and take a shot with him and see what could happen coming up. So you have the City Slickers in the 4th pick coming up with their pick, as they are now on the clock getting ready for the draft in itself. Now there were some guys that were possibly eligible overseas, but they decided to remain on their teams. One guy, especially out in Germany, decided to remain with his team and maybe gear up for next season. So hopefully we'll see his name called out next season for the 3rd season of the eXba draft. So Slickers pick is in, and right behind them is the Boston Pilgrims, number 6 the Carolina Fly Guys, and then number 7 the Seattle Martians are number 7. So City Slickers pick is in the books, and the pick is here. Adam, take it away. So with the 4th pick of the eXba draft, the team picks. The Slickers select R.J. Hampton out of, he did come out of high school, then played a season over in Australia, So he will come in and hopefully will take on the duties of the point guard position for the City Slickers this season coming up. So this will be highly interesting to see what will happen. R.J. Hampton was a joy to watch last season in in Australia. His savvy situational awareness and endless motor really set him apart from the rest of the pack, but his upside remains in question. So maybe he can't quite get to the point of where maybe they would like for him to be. So he is properly utilized. He can help out nicely right away. Those are his strengths. Good athlete with hops. One of those guys who just seems like a basketball player and can take guys off the dribble using his shiftiness. So that's a good plus there. Now his defense is D, so he may not be a very strong defensive presence. Has questionable basketball IQ and court awareness when he's on defense, and bad at getting steals. So we'll see just how that works out. He did pass the physical for medical. Of course, he did play in Australia this past season, so they were not able to get his stats for that. So, and as the one comment on him getting picked, can't wait to see R.J. Hampton ball out for the City Slickers. Great pick, great kid, and the future all eXba. So he's already saying that this kid is going to be the real deal, coming to help out the City Slickers this past season. So with the 5th pick overall, the Boston Pilgrims are definitely looking towards their next draft pick and the 5th pick of the draft. Maybe looking for 2 years from now. Yep, indeed. So as we get ourselves ready for the 5th pick for the Pilgrims. Yes, as we take a look at the draft summary, you have the Fly Guys next, the Martians, the Paladins, the Alaska Chill, the Cyborgs, the Martians at number 11, the Bandits at 12, the Lawmen at 13, the Neon at 14, the Pilgrims at 15, the Founders, the Pilgrims getting their pick, the Founders at 16, the Neptunes at 17, the Chicago at 18, the Atlanta Olympians at 19, the Power at 20, the Cannons at 21, the Jump at 22, the Sting at 23, the Leopards, the Tempo at 25, the Dragons at 26. So they do have a pick in the draft as they switched ends with the Neon going from 1 to 26, and Neon jumped from 26 to number 1. And then the Supernovas 27, the Colliers at 28, the Barons at 29, the Pilgrims at 30, the Night Owls at 31, the Buffalo, Kansas City Buffalo at 32, the Jacks at 33, the Gothics 34, the Vortex 35, and the Cyclones, the defending champs. Now we can call them that, the defending champs at dead last at number 36. So it is going to be interesting to see how all this kind of works out to be. The Pilgrims pick is in, and Adam with the decision making. The 5th pick in the eXba draft, the Boston Pilgrims select Denny Avdija from Israel, 6'9", 218 pounds small forward out of Israel. So he could possibly be a big help. Now, with Carmelo Anthony having recently turned 36 years old, going to be 30, he's 36, going to be 37. This looks to be a pick made with an eye towards the future. No doubt that the Boston Pilgrims are of how things will go. So they pick Denny Avdija, small forward, someone that could possibly give them a big help in that aspect. So Avdija, 19 years old so far. We've only had one 18-year-old pick. That was Anthony Edwards out of University of Georgia. Everyone else has been 19 years old. The scouting reporter on Avdija, he can help out nicely right away if he's properly utilized. He can take guys off the dribble, and with the right tutelage can become a star in the league. So that is a very good thing, but a very weak rebounder. So don't expect him to rack up double figures in rebounding. As he averaged 25 points a game for Israel in his league, had 6 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game, had just about 1 steal per game, 1 block per game. Shot 42% this past season for Israel and shot 34% from deep, but his free throw percentage was not great as he only hit 68% from the free throw line, so possibly not the guy to put on the maybe not the guy to not to put on the free throw line. So this guy feels that this was an amazing pick by the Pilgrims. Denis Avdija has a legit star potential and will be in this league a long time. So we certainly hope so. As long as everything continues to go well for the eXba and we're able to do what needs to be done. So the Fly Guys are now on the clock and their draft pick has been put in with the Martians, the Paladins, and the Alaska Chill getting geared up and ready for their picks. So the Carolina Fly Guys, Adam Silver take it away. And with the 6th pick of the 2020 eXba draft, the Carolina Fly Guys select Theo Maledon from France. So the point guard, 6'5", 175 out of France, goes to Carolina. So they felt that a upgrade in point guard ability was needed for the Fly Guys, so that is a solid pick, I feel, for them. Not a lot is known about Maledon, and the Fly Guys are understandably concerned about drafting such a player in the lottery. GMs love those mysterious international players. So who knows how things will work out for this young man. So Avdija and Maledon back to back here, and well, this guy was not as kind. Horrible pick by Carolina. Maledon has bust written all over his face. I bet he has a tattooed on his lower back. My goodness. But he did average, take a look, he does have good vision, great vision, solid playmaker, good finisher, could potentially attack the rim, and on his best days can dribble himself open against plus defenders, so that's a very good thing. Mike's conviction around the rim, doesn't know what he wants to do, so it's either take it to the hole or try to pass out. Seems like he has some indecisions in that side, but he did average did he check that? But he did average 25 points a game this past season in France, averaged 3 rebounds a game, 9 assists a game, had 1 steal, no blocks, and had 46% shooting for in the field goal, and shot 45% from deep. That's the best of all these draft picks so far. That is his that's the best percentage of any of these guys so far for 3-point range, and very effective at the free throw line, 89%. So he does not miss many at the free throw line. Probably going to be one of those guys, if he's fouled late in the game, he's probably going to be the guy you don't want on the line if you're that team hoping to get a crucial win. So big pick there for the Carolina Fly Guys. So the Seattle Martians are on the draft. Their pick is in. As this point, the first 5 picks, they had each 2 minutes on the clock. Now, from now on, 6 through from every pick on, the teams have 1 minute. So the picks are going to get even faster. So it is going to be interesting to see just how the GMs chose all these guys at this point. So Seattle Martians with the pick, and the 7th pick of the draft, the Seattle Martians select LaMelo Ball from Australia. So LaMelo Ball taken by the Seattle Martians, 6'7", 163, the younger brother of Lonzo Ball, and I feel he could really have Lonzo is 6'5", and LaMelo is 6'7", so he definitely has some upside here. Very savvy pickup for the Martians here, one that I love. Ball is probably the most creative playmaker I've seen in years. He will no doubt make them a can't miss watch. So hopefully that will be true. Seattle Martians are hoping to improve on what happened last season, and hopefully they will be looking towards the future, which is LaMelo Ball at point guard. 18 years old, 163. He can get shots off without actions being run for him, so someone that can really, he can kind of jumpstart his own offense. Could be a decent player in the league today, should improve, should be an all-star someday, probably sooner rather than later, so they often they feel that he can really do some good things here. So, as as with R.J. Hampton, we're not able to get stats from overseas in Australia. So the fact that, and also this person said, the Boo Birds were out in full force for the Martians selected LaMelo Ball with the 7th pick. Give the kid a break. So no doubt that, but he did measure out at 6'7", so it is a big plus there. That we'll see how it goes really. The Fly Guys are maybe interested in possibly picking him up in the 6th pick of the draft, but it just did not work out. They decided to go with Theo Maledon, the point guard out of France. So LaMelo Ball now goes to Seattle, and the Pittsburgh Paladins are now on the clock as we are starting to trim the board just a little bit. Most of the guys here now: Anthony Edwards, Cole Anthony, Wiseman. Shockingly, so far, something must have happened that this young man at 7'1", 240, he has not been picked yet. And with a wingspan of he's 7'1" with a wingspan of 7'6". That is absolutely scary. But obviously, some teams are feeling that they need to address the point guard, shooting guard, small forward positions before anything else. So Jaden McDaniels still on the board. Vernon Carey still on the board for Duke. Obi Toppin also on the board for Dayton. So we are trimming the board little by little here as we will resume the draft. Pittsburgh Paladins are on the clock now, and they have their pick in. So Adam, take it away. So with the 8th pick of the 2020 NBA draft, the Paladins select James Wiseman from Memphis. So that is a crucial pick there. So one that could definitely improve their lot in the fact that they hope that he'll be a big name for them in Pittsburgh and really secure that center position that they were greatly lacking last season. And James Wiseman is a great example of the type of player that somehow knows where to position himself to grab every rebound. His 14 rebounds per game last season in Memphis was best in the country before he had to quit playing because of the of the whole controversy whether he was paid to play or not at Memphis. But he was actually averaging 14 rebounds a game last season. That's a wise choice. So Pittsburgh, yes, I feel made the right choice there by going with Wiseman in the draft there in that pick. So and this guy, obviously he's not feeling the love there. Why? So interesting how some people are so picky, but as we take a look at the has a very solid mid-range shooting ability, has knack for blocking shots, solid defender with a wingspan of 7'6". He's gonna be tough to really drive around. Pretty good vertical leaper overall, a plus athlete, so that's gonna be a big help there. And so we'll see what happens. Not that good getting steals, but hopefully that will improve. He averaged 18 points a game for Memphis last season before he had to stop playing because of the whole controversy with whether he was paid to play or not. He averaged 14 rebounds a game, almost 3 assists a game, a steal, and averaged 3.2 blocks per game. Shot 49% from the field, 37% from deep. So he can hit he can stretch it out and hit the three-pointer. But free throws was a little weak at 69%. He was 1 point away from hitting 70. So, but maybe not the guy you want on the foul line. But overall, I think this is a wise choice for the Paladins to go with center and really address some needs that they need to coming up. So coming up next is the Alaska Chill. As they are getting ready for their pick is in. As the Alaska Chill are now on the clock. And with the pick, the 9th pick of the draft, the Alaska Chill selects Scotty Lewis from the University of Florida, shooting guard, 6'5", 185. So they feel that this young man is the way to go here for the University of Florida. So I love this pick right here for the Chill with his game. I can easily see Lewis being a solid contributor for the Chill for the next decade minimum. So obviously he feels a lot of love for Scotty Lewis and the Alaska Chill with this pick here. So the Cyborgs will now be on the clock with their pick. So what is the word on Scotty Lewis? He can get shots off without actions being run for him, so he can pretty much determine his own play. Looks extremely smooth on the court, makes it look easy from an athletic standpoint. Great lift on his jump shot. Will be able to shoot in traffic and over long defenders. But there is some concern, which is lower body strength and the fact that he could possibly get pushed around fairly easily, possibly in the paint. 6'5", 185, 19 years old from the University of Florida. So we'll see how this goes. He averaged 14 points a game last season, almost 5 rebounds a game, almost 3 assists a game at Florida, 2 steals per game, and 1 block per game. Field goal percentage was a little low at 36%. Shot even worse from deep, 27% from deep, but very good at the free throw line with 84% at the free throw line. So solid at the free throw line for Scotty Lewis. So we'll see how well of a pick that will be as we get ready for the San Jose Cyborgs. Their pick is in as we are ready for the next pick of the draft. 10th pick of the eXba draft. The San Jose Cyborgs select Josh Green from the University of Arizona, 6'6", 210 pounds from Arizona, a shooting guard. A 5-star All-American recruit coming out of high school. Green overcame the injuries that delayed the start of his freshman season at Arizona. Fully recovered and showing growth every game. He is ready to go. So obviously there is need for San Jose at shooting guard. That's why they went ahead and picked Josh Green. And the Martians will now be on the clock. So the word on this young man is this. He is solid body control, able to make adjustments on drives to the rim, so he can drive to the rim. Really good finisher, powers through contact, so someone that can take the punishment driving to the rim, and then could be a useful player right away in the right system. So big pick there. One of the poorer passers in the draft. That's probably one big note there. Not a playmaker, so probably needs plays run for him. And then seems kind of fragile at 6'6", 210. Will probably struggle with the strength of the eXba athletes. Well, we will see. He did pass his physical. He did average 16 points a game at Arizona. Averaged 5 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, 2 steals a game, and a block a game. Shot 38% from the field. Not as great from 3. Shot 27% from deep, but very good at the free throw line at 83%. So someone, and he can also play small forward along with shooting guard. So someone that could kind of help out, be a two-way player, help out in that position, and free throws. Yeah, he'll be a solid player at the free throw line. And obviously he doesn't know where Arizona is anyway, so not sure who the Josh Green is that San Jose just drafted. Where is Arizona anyway? Okay, San Jose is not in Arizona. So obviously he's very confused. But Josh Green taken in the 10th pick by the San Jose Cyborgs. So the Seattle Martians will be next up in the draft. As right now, taking a look at the draft, my goodness, where was that young man, Josh Green? He was possibly predicted to be 17th pick by the Neptunes, and I tell you, Martians must have felt that there was a need there over Khalil Whitney, and possibly taking that pick. So quite interesting, needless to say, of how some picks have already really worked out in this draft right now. Yep, need free throw guys, most definitely, Mike. I absolutely agree with that. So the Martians are now on the clock, and with the 11th pick in the 2020 eXba draft, the Seattle Martians select Khalil Whitney from the University of Kentucky. So the Martians secured a small forward position for their team, 6'6", 210, which seems a little light to me at small forward, but we'll see. Martians told me heading into the draft that they were after a small forward that can outmuscle his opponent. Whitney fits that bill. For my money, he is easily the strongest small forward in the draft. So a quite big time promising pick there for the team. That is very good as they decide to so the Bandits will be on the clock. So as we take a look at Khalil Whitney, young man out of the University of Kentucky at 6'6", 210. Very solid mid-range shooting ability, solid body control, able to make adjustments on drives to the rim. Pretty good vertical leaper, overall A-plus athlete. So no doubt they feel that this young man is the way to go for the team, and hopefully he can do what needs to be done. He averaged 16 points a game last season at Kentucky, averaged almost 7 rebounds a game, and 2 assists a game, 2 steals a game, and 2 blocks a game. So he can get up there. Shot 39%, and his field goal percentage can go deep. 33% 3-point percentage from deep, but his free throws a little weak at 68%. So hopefully something that can improve as he gets up there in the league, and hopefully they'll be able to send him to camps to improve on that and get him ready for this season coming up. So that is always going to be the important factor there. So next team up in the draft is the Wisconsin Bandits at number 12. So the Milwaukee Bandits, Wisconsin Bandits are on the clock, and their pick is in. As you can see, the Houston Lawmen will be next at 13. A Neon at 14, and then the Boston Pilgrims come back again with a 15 pick. So Adam, take it away. 12, like Jaden McDaniels from Washington at 6'9", 200 pounds, power forward out of the University of Washington. So an absolutely intimidating shot blocker. McDaniels led the country in blocks last year with 3.9 per game at Washington. So obviously he was very strong in his ability to be a shot blocker, and even bested James Wiseman in blocks last year. Led the country in blocks last year with 3.9, and that is incredibly impressive right there. So as we take a look at the tail of the tape on Jaden McDaniels, the young man out of Washington, good dunker, really solid finisher overall, has gobs of potential, could turn into a perennial all-star someday, and good reflexes, seems to be able to anticipate action on the floor. So that is very promising for them, and he did pass the physical there. He averaged 23, tall enough and got the weight to go along with it too. He averaged 23, almost 24 points a game last season in Washington, and almost 10 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 1 steal a game, and like we said, almost 4 blocks per game this past season for Washington. He shot 48% from the field, 46% from deep, so he can go deep at the 3-point range, and shot 80% from the free throw line. So not only can he hit the field goals, hit the deep shot, he can also hit the free throws at the line when needed. So always big plus. Always a big plus in that factor. So Jaden McDaniels, congratulations, you have been drafted. Even though this guy is not sure of that. I'm sure he's a good player, but I wish the Bandits would pick someone other than Jaden McDaniels with the 12th pick. I don't like anyone from Washington. Oh boy. Don't know what he was thinking, but welcome Jaden McDaniels to the Wisconsin Bandits. So the Houston Lawmen now on the clock as they have their pick in the draft right now. So the Houston Lawmen now on the clock at this point, and their pick is in. So with the 13th pick in the draft, they select Precious Achiuwa from the University of Memphis. Second guy taken from the University of Memphis, James Wiseman being the first. Precious Achiuwa taken in the 13th pick of the draft by the Houston Lawmen. So this could be a big hopeful. How well will he work with the team? We'll see. He is 6'9", 225, small forward position out of the University of Memphis. And Lane Whitaker says this is about where I expected Achiuwa to get drafted. He is without doubt first round draft talent and a player that Lawman fans will grow to love once they see what he can do. So obviously a very promising report from Whitaker, and the tail of the tape on this young man as we continue to just run down the list here. On his best days, he can dribble himself open against plus defenders, adapt at disrupting the offense with his quick hands, and a good finisher could potentially attack the rim. So obviously someone that, and he also passed his physical. Now he averaged 19 points a game with Memphis last season and had 7 rebounds a game, almost 3 assists a game, 2 steals a game, 2 blocks, almost 3 blocks per game. Shot 40% from the field goal percentage, 37% from deep, and shot 71% from the free throw line. So obviously some work there. He can play small forward. He can also play the power forward position with his size and weight. So he should be a good tendency for that guy. And this guy is really excited. He loves the eXba draft. I want a Precious Achiuwa Lawman jersey right now. Hashtag great pick. So obviously this young man is ready to get a Precious Achiuwa jersey. He is ready. So Precious Achiuwa, congratulations. You have now been picked by the Houston Lawmen with the New York Neon with their second pick of the draft. They had the first pick of the draft, and now they have the 14th pick in the draft, and their pick is in. Now, Adam, take it away. So with the 14th pick in the draft, the New York Neon select Nico Mannion. So they go back to back with point guards, with Cole Anthony being the first pick, and now with Cole Anthony, he's not signed yet, but we'll see. But most definitely, Nico Mannion has also been picked by the New York Neon. So obviously they felt they needed point guard help, so that's why they went with Cole Anthony and Nico Mannion at the point guard position. So I would, as far as saying Nico Mannion is arguably the best three-point shooter in the entire draft. Love this pick for the Neon. So obviously someone that can go deep and hit the big-time shots. That is maybe so. Cole Anthony, like we said, he hit 40% from three-point range this past season for North Carolina. Shot 82% from the field, from the free throw line. Well, for Nico Mannion, what is the tail and tape on this young man? Pretty good holding onto the ball while attacking, finds his own shot, has very solid mid-range shooting ability, unselfish and skilled ball distributor, makes the occasional mistake, so someone that can really pass the ball well. He averaged 21 points a game this past season in Arizona, and almost 3 rebounds a game, almost 8 assists a game, had 1 steal per game, no blocks, shot 45% from the field, 40% from deep, and shot 78% from the free throw line. So possibly some work there to get him going in the right direction at the free throw line, especially with the are going to be obviously when the time is right, you want those guys that can hit the free throws down the stretch. Write it down. The New York Neon are going to be a dynasty in a few years after picking up Nico Mannion from Arizona today. So obviously he feels good about the future of his franchise of the Neon, and hoping that the Neon are going to be big time contenders of getting into the playoffs. Maybe not this season, but maybe next season. Who knows? Down the road, it's going to be interesting to see how all this really works out. So the Boston Pilgrims are now on the clock with the 15th pick, and with the 15th pick, they select the man from Duke, Vernon Carey Jr. So 15th pick, the Boston Pilgrims select Vernon Carey Jr. from the University of Duke, the Blue Devils. So numerous reports have surfaced during the scouting process covering Vernon Carey's abdomen. It seems the Pilgrims were not scared off, so obviously there's a little bit concerned about Vernon Carey's abdomen, and but we'll see what the tail of the tape is on this young man out of Duke. Yeah, definitely did not have the injury issues that Zion Williamson did coming out of college. He's a good dunker, really solid finisher overall. Looks like he has the potential to be something in this league. Spots, very few guys can move him once he's established himself. So very good in that sense, and they have not found any medical concerns. So whatever the report was on his abdomen, we are not sure. And obviously Ryan likes to pick for the Boston Pilgrims. Let's go, Duke. So Vernon Carey averaged 19, almost 20 points a game this past season for Duke. Almost 10 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game. Steals were very low, almost 1 steal per game, and almost about half of 2 blocks per game. He shot 46% from the field, 33% from deep, and a little tough 73% from the free throw line. So possibly not someone you want on the free throw line at clutch time, but he should be a good defender, rim defender for the team. And this guy, obviously, he's thinking otherwise. Looks like the Pilgrims just drafted a power forward from Duke. Question is, who is Vernon Carey? So obviously he has no clue where Duke University is or whoever this young man is, but congratulations, Vernon Carey. You have found yourself on a spot with the Boston Pilgrims going into next year. So the Washington Founders on the clock. And so all suddenly now we're really getting into the point of the big board. We are really starting to chime down this list here. So Khalil Whitney, Obi Toppin has not been picked yet. The young man out of Dayton, Trey Jones, Sky Lewis has already been picked. Nico Mannion has already been picked. Killian Hayes has not been picked. Patrick Williams, Jalen Smith, Josiah James, Jay Scrubb, Josh Green did get picked. Isaiah Stewart and Samuel Williamson. So all those guys have not been picked yet, but it is still young night here in the draft. So we'll see who is next as we head towards the 16th pick of the draft. The Founders are on the clock. Their pick is in. And with the 16th pick in the 2020 eXba draft, the Washington Founders select Isaiah Stewart from the University of Washington. 6'9", 245, power forward out of Washington. Now, Isaiah Stewart led all power forwards at the draft combine with 29 reps in the bench press, so obviously a very strong young man and someone that can grab those tough rebounds against very tough competition. So we'll have to see just how well he will do. Neptunes will be on the clock next. So looking at Isaiah Stewart, as I said, 6'9", 245, 19 years old. He can contest and block shots at an above average level. Properly utilized, he can help out nicely right away. He can play power forward. He can play center. He knows when to hit the boards and pulls down a fair amount of rebounds. So obviously his strength is right where it needs to be, and definitely a good player. Averaged 17, almost 18 points a game at Washington this past season, and 9 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 1 steal per game, and 3 blocks per game. So quite impressive for his size and height that he can do that. He shot 47% from the field, nothing on 3-point percentage. Basically, one of the reports said he shouldn't even attempt a 3-pointer, as he's more of an inside player anyway. And he shot 75% from the field, so obviously he can hit a fair amount of free throws. Hopefully, maybe somebody that can get the 3-pointer the old-fashioned way. So, and this guy is really psyched. I am so excited. Isaiah Stewart is going to play for the Founders. Great pick. So obviously he feels the Founders made the right decision and getting Isaiah Stewart out of the University of Washington. So the Neptunes are on the clock. Their pick is in, and we'll see what their pick will be. So with 17th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the New Orleans Neptunes select Killian Hayes from France. So the point guard, 6'5", 176 out of France. The third international player picked in the draft here. Killian Hayes is a player we don't know a lot about. We only hope the Neptunes did their homework on him after taking him so high in the draft. So obviously there's some concern, but obviously Killian Hayes, great vision, solid playmaker. On his best days, he can dribble himself open against plus defenders and adapt at disrupting the offense with his quick hands. So obviously he can get steals, so that's going to be a big plus for him, and able to what he can do with those quick hands. Average 18 points, almost 19 points a game for France in the league, and 4 rebounds a game, 6 assists a game, almost 3 steals per game. No, barely, not even close to 1 block per game. Shot 43% from the field, 31% from deep, so maybe not a major 3-point threat, but shot a very comfortable 81% from the free throw line. So possibly one of those guys that can hit the, someone that can hit the free throws late in the game. Yeah, 6'5", 176. He is a little light. He is a 6'5", so he may need to bulk up. No, and this guy believes it's a crapshoot with where they picked. But I like this Killian Hayes kid from France. I think he's the best point guard in the draft. So obviously he feels his team got the better pick in the draft. So we'll see what happens here. So as we take a look at the next pick in the draft, BC Chicago is on the clock, and I would say one of the most concerning things would possibly maybe is bulk up with some of these point guards being taken. Maybe that should be their thinking, and taking somebody with maybe taking somebody like a Trey Jones. And you have to, you can't go too far. You have Goran Dragic, a very good, accomplished point guard for BC Chicago, but he will be 35 going into next season, so he is getting up there, and we really can't think about, gotta think about how he can do. You have to think about Muggsy Bogues. Yep, that little man, 5'3", and he was an absolute terror on the court when he played for Charlotte. So BC Chicago, their pick is in, and we guessed it right. So with the 18th pick in the 2020 XBA draft, the BC Chicago selects Trey Jones from Duke. So obviously they were thinking the same way as we were, addressing the fact that Goran Dragic will be 35 years old. They went ahead and rolled the dice and got Trey Jones from the University of Duke, 6'2", 183, the brother of Tyus Jones, and I feel that maybe somebody that could really contribute to BC Chicago and possibly help BC Chicago get into the playoffs. Trey Jones is the fastest player, the strongest player, or the best shooter. His well-rounded game was good enough to catch the attention of the eXba scouts. I think this is a good spot for him in the first round, being the 18th pick in the draft. So I think that's a crucial pick, but definitely a pick that they needed to address with the point guard position, and they got their guy. Has some, and the strength on him has his rough spots, but a solid player overall. Can expect his game to grow a lot as he matures, and possesses a sound defensive fundamentals. So someone that could possibly get steals and really do well. And really do well. Only averaged 11 points per game this past season at Duke. Almost 4 rebounds a game though, 5 assists a game, and almost 3 steals per game. So my goodness, shot 38% from the field, 34% from deep, and shot a respectable 74% from the free throw line. So Trey Jones, yep, welcome to the eXba, my friend. So as he is now a pick in the drafts, and this guy feels the same way as some other people did too, that he feels that he is the best point guard in the draft. So a lot of love for this young man. So we'll see how well he can gel with BC Chicago in their offense, and see if how well he can gel with the team for next season. That will be the big factor. So the Atlanta Olympians on the clock now. Their pick is in. So the 19th pick, we're only 19 picks in now. So with the 19th pick in the 2020 draft, the Atlanta Olympians select Jordan Nwora from Louisville, 6'7", 225, small forward. So they felt that he can, oh yes, he can hit those threes. Yeah, most teams need rebounders. He can hit those three-pointers and is a good playmaker. I don't disagree with you there. He was a very solid player at Duke this past season and the season before. But Atlanta Olympians feel that they need to go with small forward, so that's why they picked Jordan Nwora. Nwora showed his range at the draft combine by making more NBA three-pointers than any other small forward in attendance. So that is a big plus for them with the power on the clock next. So as we get ready here, Jordan Nwora, 19-year-old out of the University of Louisville. And the strengths on him are they feel he can create his own shot at the next level. Hits the three with some consistency. Overall, this kid has got some game and can definitely contribute. So obviously, a very good pickup for Atlanta. If Jordan Nwora really works out well for him, he can play small forward and power forward. He averaged 18 points a game this past season at Louisville, almost 5 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, a steal, and a blocked shot. Shot 38% from the field, 33% from deep, and shot 75% from the free throw line. So someone that can finish at the free throw line during clutch times. So that will be a big plus here. So yeah, we'll see what happens here as the Detroit Power is on the clock now, as their pick has been made. So my man Adam, go ahead and make your selection. So with the 20th pick in the eXba draft, the Detroit Power select Brian Anton from Villanova, shooting guard, 6'5", 175 from the University of Villanova. So I saw a number of people in the media suggesting that Anton is a second-round talent. I couldn't disagree more. The Power are getting great value for him in this spot, in my opinion, from Sean Devaney. So he feels that they made the right pick in the draft at small forward in getting this young man. our shooting guard, Brian Anton, can really throw down sometimes, highlight dunks, pump up the team, so he can really flush the ball in the hoop. Should be able to hit jumpers from beyond the three-point line regularly. Crafty finisher, doesn't get his shot blocked easily, so obviously he can find his way. He can navigate through the tall trees of the big men and get those finishes at the line, so this will be highly interesting. Some concerns on him, mostly due to the fact that he is 175, so he may need to, like some of these other guys under 200, may need to bulk up the weight just a little bit to take on the punishment of what this league can do. He averaged almost 14 points a game at Villanova, 4 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 2 steals per game, and almost 2 blocked shots per game at shooting guard. He shot 38% in the field and also 31% from deep, and shot 78% from the free throw line. So big number there as we head for him. I vote for him. That's awesome. So as we so Brian Anton is picked, and this guy really loves the pick. I'm excited about the power selection of Brian Anton from Villanova with the 20th pick, #sleeper. So he may be seeing something that maybe we're not. So we'll see what happens here. So the Baltimore Cannons on the clock at the 21st pick. And then the runners up in the eXba Grand Finals will get the next pick, the Jacksonville Jump. And how will they go? That will be the interesting part in the draft. So the Cannons and silver with the 21st pick in the 2020 NBA Draft. The Baltimore Cannons select Obi Toppin from the University of Dayton. So 6'9", 220. He was not only the player of the year, but led Dayton to an unbelievable record this past season, only to have the season cut short due to the coronavirus and the fact that they were not able to represent Dayton in the tournament. And it would have been a number 1 pick too, a number 1 seed too, no doubt. Obi Toppin will be taken by the Baltimore Cannons, a fan favorite Dayton for his relentless willingness to sacrifice his body for loose balls. I expect Toppin will instantly become a fan favorite to Cannon fans as well if he keeps it up. So it is going to be, yes, that is definitely a good pick for the Cannons. Obi Toppin was, you said it right, Ryan. He was an absolute beast at Dayton this past season and would have been a number 1 seed in the tournament had they played that tournament. So the report on this young man, congratulations, Obi Toppin, 22-year-old, 6'9", 220, out of University of Dayton. Is a defensive presence in the post, solid throughout, rarely gets a shot block at the rim, powerful finisher, good lower body strength, gets to his spots with ease. So obviously someone that can really bring the pain to the rim and bring the pain to other people. You know, I would say this young man is probably going to be the next version of Zion Williamson, and it'll be interesting when those two tangle on the court, Baltimore and Tampa Bay. It'll be interesting to see what happens here when those two meet up, Obi Toppin and Zion Williamson. That's going to be a scary matchup. He averaged 16 points a game this past season in Dayton, almost 8 rebounds a game, almost 2 assists a game, and 1.3 steals per game, and just about 3 blocks per game. Shot 40% from the field, 38% from 3-point range, and shot 75% from the field. So Baltimore, I felt they really improved in getting a player like Obi Toppin. To me, Samaljak, who was played that power forward position last year, to me, really did a good job, but just did not have that upper body strength to really kind of, really handle a lot of the punishment against some of the quicker athletes, as was very much evident in the playoffs this past season. I mean, decent player, but he just wasn't a game changer. Obi Toppin, to me, is going to be a game changer for the Baltimore Cannons, and I feel it will be a quite, and I really feel that Baltimore will do better than the number 8 seed that they got this past season in the playoffs. So Obi Toppin, congratulations. Yes, it will be a dunk fest between those two, Zion and Obi Toppin. So no doubt. Boy, I tell you, that pretty much excites me for the beginning of the season. Get ready for season 2 with Obi Toppin and Zion Williamson and all those guys. So, it's going to be incredible. So, Jacksonville Jump are now on the clock, and their pick is in. And who will they pick in the eXba draft? So, with the 22nd pick in the eXba draft, they select Samuel Williamson from the University of Louisville, 6'7", 190 shooting guard. I feel probably is a good pick for him, since their shooting guard position was a major need here in getting Samuel Williamson from the University of Louisville. One of the most talked about long-range shooters in the nation last year. Williamson led all shooting guards and made college threes at the draft combine. The Jump were clearly impressed by what they saw, so no doubt a step up in the fact that the Jacksonville Jump select Samuel Williamson out of the University of Louisville. Tampa Bay Sting will be on the clock next. So a major need here for the Jump as they select Williamson. He has decent handles, can generate good looks against average defenders, gets to the rim okay, really good at finishing once he does, and looks like he can contribute right away for any team in the league. And hopefully that will be true. And hoping that he can provide some three-point threat for the Jump this coming season. He averaged almost 20 points a game at Louisville, 4 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game, a steal a game, and very close to 1 block per game at 6'7". He shot 41%, field goal percentage 35% from threes, and shot a very good 90% at the free throw line. So someone that can really finish free throws well at the line, and so that's going to be a big help to them in what they get ready. And I tell you, nothing really much said there about him, but obviously the Jump feeling that they needed to improve on the shooting guard position, no doubt, because they really needed some help, and they certainly got that and in the Jacksonville Jump tonight. So that is a big plus for them, and someone that can really go stretch. Marco Bellinelli is getting a little bit older, so you're going to need somebody else, and some of their other guys just did not contribute as much as they were hoping this year, aside from the guys that were on the court. Michael Porter Jr., Ben Simmons, of course, and all those guys. So it'll be interesting to see how everything worked out for the Jump this coming season. So the Tampa Bay Sting are now on the clock, and they will select, with the 23rd pick in the draft, they select Matthew Hurt from the University of Duke, 6'9", 214 power forward. So the Tampa Bay Sting feels they need to go the power forward position, so when they can share the position with Zion Williamson. So Sting fans have to be pleased after grabbing Matthew Hurt in this spot. He wowed at the draft combine after making 41 out of 50 college threes, the best of any player in attendance. So he can stretch the floor, hit the deep shot for Tampa Bay, and they're hoping that they'll have a better season. Well, they had a good season, but then they lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Las Vegas Jacks. So that was a little bit of frustration there. That was Zion Williamson's worst game as a pro in that playoff game, as he had to be matched up against Kevin Love most of the game, and he just did not play as well. So Matthew Hurt hopefully can really contribute some things for the team right there. So we'll see how it goes. Now Matthew Hurt, not quite as big as Zion Williamson, but a really solid player at University of Duke. Very solid mid-range shooting ability, very skilled shooter from deep, and is a reliable scoring option when he posts up. So someone, when he goes into the post, he knows what to do with it. So that's a big plus for the team. But at 6'9", 214, there may be some concerns of his weight, but hopefully that works out better for him. He averaged 21 points a game at Duke this past season, 7 rebounds a game, and almost 3 assists a game, and very close to 1 steal per game, and had a 1 block per game. Shot 42% from the field, 34% from three-point range, and shot a very respectable 81% from the free throw line. So very good report on him. So I think he is going to be quite impressive, I think, for the Sting, and someone that can give Zion a little bit of a breather too. So the Los Angeles Leopards on the clock now, and who will they pick, as that pick is in? And the 24th pick of the draft will be Jalen Smith from the University of Maryland, 6'10", 215, power forward. So they feel that the need is there, power forward, to help the team out. So Maryland's head coach recently came out and called Smith the most coachable player he has ever coached. High praise from a man with such a long history. So obviously they know what they're doing. And the tail of the tape here on this young man, Jalen Smith, 19 years old, 6'10", 215, has a knack for blocking shots, solid defender, pretty good vertical leaper, overall A-plus athlete, capable defender in the low post, knows how to get it done, so a big plus there on that end. He did pass his physical, so that's a good thing. He averaged 17 points a game this past season at Maryland, almost 9 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 1 steal per game, and 3.2 blocks per game. So someone that can really get up there and make a difference. Yeah, even at 6'10", shot 43% from the field, 30% the floor, and shot 70% from the free throw line. So not, I would say, decent at the free throw line. Probably a 1 out of 2, maybe at times he'll get 2 for 2, but possibly a 1 out of 2 type player for the team, and hopefully it will be a good spot for him in the draft for in 24th pick. So Nashville Tempo is on the clock here, and with the 25th pick of the draft, the Nashville Tempo take Jay Scrubb out of the University of Louisville, 6'6", 220 of Louisville. The Nashville Tempo decided they will go shooting guard on this one, 6'6", 220 Jay Scrubb. And the report on him was a 43-inch vertical at the draft combine. Scouts were wowed by Jay Scrubb's athleticism. That vertical was the best amongst all attending shooting guards. So obviously he has some hop in his jump. So he should be fairly impressive for the team at this point. So Jay Scrubb, the report on him, he's very comfortable shooting the NBA three-pointer, so someone that can stretch the floor well, should be able to hit jumpers from 15 feet regularly. So not only can he hit the mid-range, he can also go deep, and plays above the rim, able to finish with authority. So someone that can get the tough fouls, get the shot to go in, and go to the line for the three-point play. So big plus for him. He averaged almost 21 points a game this past season at Louisville, almost 4 rebounds a game, almost 5 assists a game, 1.2 in steals per game, shot 42% from the field, 40% from deep, and 83% from the free throw line. So very good at the free throw line now. We interrupt this draft for the microwave. Thanks a lot, Foxy. So very good report on Jay Scrubb there. I think they feel that he is going to be a game changer for the tempo, and they definitely will need some of those. Now the team that traded away their first round draft pick, the San Francisco Dragons, are now on the clock, and how are they going to be picking here in the draft? They gave up the number one pick, which was Cole Anthony, to the New York Neon. So at this point, they need a wow pick. They need something that they can just, woo, what a pick that was. So big time important pick. So with the 26th pick in the draft, they select Patrick Williams, small forward, out of Florida State, 6'8", 215, small forward. Obviously, with LeBron James getting older, they feel this was a necessity pick at 6'8", 215, small forward position. Patrick Williams out of Florida State. Now, very heavily recruited by Florida State, Williams went on to have a successful collegiate career. He now finds himself a first-round pick selected by the California Dragons. So the big question will be, how will this young man be in the overall aspect of everything? Like I said, with LeBron James getting older, they feel that they need to draft for the future. And I mean, that's really what the draft is, for the future of the franchise. So we'll see what the tail of the tape is on this young man. He could bring some impressive stuff to the team. Good finisher, could potentially attack the rim, hits the mid-range jumpers with some consistency, and has a very solid long-range shooting ability. So he can hit the mid-rangers, he can go deep. So someone that can stretch the floor well, and hopefully that works out well for him. Averaged 18 points a game this past season at Florida State, almost 8 rebounds a game, almost 3 assists a game, 2.5 in steals, 2 and almost 3 blocks per game at 6'8", 215. Shot 44% from the field, 37% from deep, and 79% from the free throw line. So obviously hoping that he can get to the free throw line, finish those shots well, and move on to the next play. So Patrick Williams, congratulations, you have now been drafted by the California Dragons, and a big pickup there for the Dragons. Obviously they were thinking, as most of everybody was, how are they going to really look at the whole aspect of everything. LeBron James getting older, how much longer would he play in the league? And so they felt they needed to go with a big time pick here at this point in the draft. So the Anaheim Supernovas are now on the clock and are ready to be dealt with. So with the 27th pick of the draft, they will take Josiah James from the University of Tennessee, 6'6", 204, point guard out of, again, the Volunteer Nation of Tennessee. So James showed off his raw strength at the combine, leading all point guards in bench pressing. So obviously he's very strong, can get the rebounds, can pass well. He can take the tough contact in with the big boys. So we'll see what the tail of the tape is on this young man heading into where we're heading into pretty good at holding on to the ball while attacking, finds his own shot, really good finisher, powers through contact, and he can also play point guard, and he can also play shooting guard. So he's a two-way player that could really help the Supernovas out and give Klay Thompson a little bit of a breather, and maybe be on the floor at the same time with Klay Thompson to dish out some assists too. So Josiah James, he averaged 14 points a game this past season at Tennessee, almost 4 rebounds a game, 5 assists a game, almost 3 steals per game. Shot 37% from the field, 33% from deep, and 76% from the free throw line. So big plus for Josiah James at this point in the draft. So the Kentucky Colliers are now on the clock with the 28th pick. And how is the 28th pick going to go for them? And with the 28th pick in the draft, they will select Trendon Watford from LSU, 6'9", 230, small forward. So they felt going small forward was the way to go for the Colliers. Probably maybe a little bit of a weakness for them last season. So whenever Watford attacks an opposing defender, his moves have the confidence of someone who has practiced that same move thousands of times. A highly polished player and one very worthy of this first round selection. So obviously big props to this young man out of LSU and what he can possibly contribute to the Colliers. Gets to the rim okay, really good at finishing once he does. Should have good success at the NBA level as he matures. Can score through traffic partially due to a very solid dunking ability at 6'9", 230. So he's a big guy, can really take the contact well, and he can also play. He's a two-way player, can also play the power forward position. So he should be a big help. Should be a big help in getting those tough. Now, one concern with him is, of course, the rebounding ability. Does not have very good vertical, so it may be a little hard for him to get rebounds. But this past season for LSU, had 18 points per game, 4 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, very close to a block per game, and had a steal per game. Shot 41% from field, very weak on threes, 28% from deep, and 71% from the free throw line. So we'll see just how well he works into the game plan. Trendon Watford, how well he does with the Kentucky Colliers this past season. So the Dallas Barons are on the clock. They have made their selection with the Boston Pilgrims due up in the 30th pick of the draft. And who will they select? They will select Tyrese Halliburton from Iowa State, shooting guard at 6'5", 172. So the Barons felt they needed to go shooting guard at this point in the draft. As Rob Mahoney says, I'm so high in Halliburton's perimeter defense that I think he may be one of the top perimeter defenders in the league next year as a rookie. Suffice to say, easily the best perimeter defender in this draft class. So major props there, and major props there and what this young man can bring to the table, and hopefully we will be able to see that. Now, shooting guard can also play point. Averaged 13, almost 14 points a game this past season for Iowa State. Had 6 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, almost 3 steals per game, and 2 blocks per game too. So very tough to shoot over at 6'5", 172. Shot 37% from the field, 36% from deep, and shot 73% from the free throw line. So obviously there's some good things about this young man that I feel will work out for him in the overall factor of everything. So the Boston Pilgrims now on the clock at number 30. And that means we will have 6 more picks to go here in the first round, as they will select Xavier Tillman from Michigan State, 6'8", 245. So big, strong young man at power forward for the Boston Pilgrims, as they felt that he was someone. Xavier Tillman was projected to go much higher than this. The Pilgrims have to be pleased by landing him here. So obviously big props there as we take a look at the end result for this young man, Xavier Tillman. Now the Pilgrims earlier went with Vernon Carey at power forward, and then they go power forward again with Xavier Tillman. He averaged 11 points a game, for Michigan State this past season, 8 rebounds a game, 1 assist a game, 1 steal, and 1 block shot per game. Shot 46% from the field, 32% from deep, and shot 76% from the free throw line. So big help there in that fact. And so we'll see what happens here as Xavier Tillman is now will be looking to sign his contract with the Pilgrims. So the Pilgrims select him at number 31, or number 30. So number 31, the Miami Night Owls are now on the clock. Maybe looking to have somebody go along with Giannis Antetokounmpo, as the Night Owls looking to select that player, and that player is Jeremiah Robinson Earl from the University of Villanova at 6'9", 232, a power forward. So you already have a power forward in of course, the Greek Freak, but now you have Jeremiah Robinson Earl with the team. So big decision here. So when I watch Robinson Earl's game, I see a work in progress with enormous upside. I'll be following this kid to see how his game develops at the NBA level. So big plus there for how they feel this kid could develop, and under Giannis's tutelage, hopefully they will see great ability, good lower body strength, gets to his spots with ease, looks pretty smooth generally speaking. Agility is solid, really crafty around the rim, has a variety of finishes around the rim, so they feel that he can really contribute to the team. Averaged 12 points a game at Villanova, averaged 4 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game, 1 steal, 1 block shot. Shot 40% from the field, 39% from deep, and shot 74% from the free throw line this past season. So they feel that he could be a big, and look at that, already has a badge, relentless finisher. So that's a big plus there. So he could be a very good player to come for the team, the Miami Night Owls, and maybe give Giannis Antetokounmpo some help when he has to sit on the bench and really provide that help off the bench. So we'll see what happens here. So it's Kansas City Buffalo now on the clock, as they will take, Kansas City will select Thurs-Mon from the University of Illinois, point guard, 6'5", 185. There will be many in the media that will see this as a surprise pick. I, for one, am sold not only on Thurs-Mon's upside, but also what he can bring to the table in his rookie season. So obviously some high praise from Mr. Devaney. And what does this young man bring to the table? We are getting close to the end of the first round. Thurs-Mon has great vision, solid playmaker. On his best days, can dribble himself open against plus defenders, and adept at disrupting the offense with his quick hands. So obviously someone that can get steals. Averaged 17 points a game this past season at Illinois, 2 rebounds a game, 7 assists. So he can really dish the rock, and had only 1 steal this past season. Shot 38% from the field, 32% from deep, and 75% from the free throw line. So decent player. He does have some badges: acrobat, fancy footwork, and giant slayer. So obviously he can finish at the rim against taller defenders. So that is going to be a big plus for the team there. And so we'll see what happens there. Las Vegas Jacks now on the clock at number 33. There you see the last 3 picks of the first round: Montreal, Vancouver, and then the champs, San Diego. And a lot of people are wondering just how San Diego will pick in the draft going into this whole thing. So the Jacks now on the clock. They've made their selection. They will select Isaac Okoro out of the University of Auburn. 6'6", 215, small forward, as they select him out of Auburn. There'll be many in the media will see this as a surprise pick, but he feels he likes Okoro's upside and what he can bring to the Jacks this rookie season. So very high praise there. What did he do at Auburn this past season? Yeah, we know what he did a couple years ago, getting the team to the Final Four. Solid body control, able to make adjustments on drives to the rim. Really good finisher, powers through contact, and could be a useful player right away in the right system. So hopefully the Jacks system is what he's looking for. And he averaged 15, almost 16 points a game this past season at Auburn, 6 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 2 steals a game, and 2 blocks per game at small forward, and can also play power forward at 6'6", 215. Shot 41% from the field, was very weak at threes at 24%, and shot 74% from the free throw line. So decent at the free throw line. Yes, indeed. Time will tell just how effective this young man will be in the draft coming up. So the Gothics are on the clock right now. They have made their selection. And how is the next round going to go? And with the 34th pick of the 2020 XBA draft, the Montreal Gothics select Amar Silla from Senegal. So 6'9", 190 power forward for the Montreal Gothics. They feel he is the type of player they need. As they say here, there will be many in the media that will see this as a surprise pick. I am for one sold. Not only very good there, the Vortex on the clock now. As we had 2 more picks here in the first round. He can really throw down sometimes, highlight dunks, pump up the team. Has his rough spots, but solid player overall. Solid vertical leap, second jump good too, which should help on the offensive glass. So someone that can really wipe the glass with rebounds. He's 6'9", 190 power forward, but can also play center. But most definitely, he's going to have to bulk up some weight if he's going to be playing in with the big boys in the middle. And on the power forward position, averaged 13 points a game, and for Senegal had double doubles, 13 points a game, had 11 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 1 steal, and 2 block shots per game for this young man. Shot 41% from the field, 31% from deep, so he can stretch it, but I will not depend on him for major deep threes a lot. 85% for the free throw percentage there. So very good very solid at the free throw line. So big plus for the Montreal Gothics getting this pick. So the Vancouver Vortex on the clock here. And who will they select? 35th pick. They will select Malcolm Cazalon from France. So 6'6", 185 shooting guard from France. I've never seen this kid play, and any media pundit out there who says isn't telling the truth. You have to believe the Vortex have performed their due diligence on this guy. So another French player coming into the league. What does he bring to the table as San Diego prepares their pick for the draft here? Kind of has the build of Seth Curry and Joe Harris. So can really throw down sometimes, highlight dunks, pump up the team. Crafty finisher, doesn't get shots blocked easily. Does an okay job changing directions. Agility is serviceable, so pretty decent there. Some concerns about the fact that he's 185, so he may need to bulk up some weight in order to take on some contact in the driving to the lane. Can play shooting guard, can play small forward at 6'6", so he's a two-way player. Average 16 points a game for France. Average 5 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, almost 3 steals per game, and almost 2 blocks per game. Shot 38% from the field, 27% from deep, so will not depend on him too much from to stretch the floor. Shot 77% from the field, from free throws, so decent at the free throw line, definitely in the clutch. So we'll see what he can bring to. We'll see what he can bring to the table heading into the season. San Diego Cyclones are now on the clock as we are heading for the last pick of the first round. We have finally hit the last pick of the first round. Thank goodness. I knew to myself I was going to be talking a lot tonight, and this very much proves it. So still, there is a couple guys here that have not been picked. There is on the big board still. Someone like Navale Dante, Kira Lewis Jr., a point guard out of Alabama, Charles Bassey, a man in the middle that can get those tough rebounds and can also block shots. Devon Dotson, point guard out of Kansas. And then because everybody else on this list right now has pretty much been picked, so we'll see what the rest of the draft comes into being right now. So final pick of the first round, 36th pick by the San Diego Cyclones, and they will select Wendell Moore out of the University of Duke. So the fourth Duke player selected tonight out of the draft here in the first round. So the Cyclones go with Wendell Moore from the University of Duke, 6'6", 213, small forward. Yes, the defending champs looking to add to their success by selecting this young man. There may be any in the media that will see this as a surprise pick, obviously, but he feels that he can bring that big plus there. So we'll see what happens here. So the final pick of the first round, San Diego decides to go with Wendell Moore, 6'6", 18 years old, 213, out of the University of Duke. Rarely needs the help of a double team, plays solid man defense, decent handles, can generate good looks against average defenders, and can score through traffic, particularly due to a solid dunking ability. So very good pick here tonight, as he did pass his physical average, almost 13 points a game this past season for Duke, almost 7 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 2 steals, and almost 3 block shots a game for the Duke Blue Devils. So he shot 36% from the field, 29% from deep, and shot 78% from the free throw line. So, and he is also a two-way player, can play the small forward position, can also play the shooting guard position. So this should be, I would say, a very solid, good pick for San Diego as the champs look to continue their winning ways by adding a very good player and someone that maybe can take the role from Damari Carroll as he is getting older right now. So as we head towards the second round, the California Dragons, now it gets faster with their selections. Now you had a minute from pick 6 all the way to pick 36. And the first 5 you had 2 minutes to pick. Now you have 1 minute from pick 6 to pick 36. Now the time gets even shorter. Now you have 30 seconds to get those picks in now. So round 2 is going to get even quicker. So, and as Adam Silver says, this marks the end of the first round. Second round will be conducted by Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum. To the very enthusiastic fans in attendance and the fans watching around the world, thank you very much for your support of the eXba here in this first season. Not only was it a tremendous success, but I feel that we have, years down the road with this league, and see just how highly successful this league can be. So the California Dragons will be next on the clock, as they had the first pick. They would have had the first pick in the first round, but they traded down with the neon, so they will get the second pick. So the San Francisco Dragons are now on the clock, and the big plus here is, as you look at the mock drafts for round 2, as you look at the for round 2, you have guys like Isaiah Joe, Trendon Dwalford's already been picked, Dawson Minu has already been picked, Bassey has not, Killen Tilly has not, Okoro has been, Agbaji has not been picked, Tillman has already been picked, Cassius Winston has not been picked, Sharif O'Neal, the son of Shaquille O'Neal, has not been picked out of UCLA, Tyler Bay of Colorado, Kada of Utah State's 7-footer, Marcus Howard of Marquette, Miles Powell, Gatwich out of high school, Cassius Stanley has not been picked out of Duke, Paul Reed, Wendell Moore's already been picked, Nebhard has not, Udoka Azubuike of Kansas, a big powerful 7-footer, Diakite has not been picked yet, Perry, Bishop, and all these other guys have not been picked yet, so there's still plenty more picks to go here as the pick is now in. And just before we get to that pick, I'm going to get a quick swig of water. So I will be right back. And also, before we really get going, the surprise I had for y'all that the announcement could not be made until draft night, which was the announcement of the surprise that this league, due to some teams being highly successful, some teams being a little bit struggle, so the league officials and team owners and everyone else got together and came up with a solution. It is going to be interesting how next season will be. What I have in my hand right now is a list of 3 players each for each team. The players have been submitted. These players will join the team through various trades and everything else. You still got to get through the signing period and everything else, but the pick is the 3 best players that the franchises feel that they can bring to their franchises. The 3 of the best players. So that is the big shocker that I was given by the league office, and determination of going into next season to hopefully have a little bit more competitive ability with the league. So 3 of the best players from each team will be going elsewhere before season 2 begins. So it's going to be highly interesting. Now the draft picks and all them will still remain with the teams. Once they are picked, they will not be eligible to be traded. But guys like Steph Curry, Ben Simmons, LeBron James, be quite interesting of how all that is going to work out. So that is the big shocker that came out of the league office. Now that is only for this season coming up, as it should hopefully bring a little bit more competitive balance to some teams. Hopefully some teams like the California Dragons and the Columbus Basket Hounds, and hopefully help them avoid not being relocated. So that's one thing that they had to look at very, very closely, and the fact of they want the league to thrive. They don't want it to flounder and other such like that. So the league office came up with this idea, a one time only, in which 3 of the best players from each team will be going elsewhere. So it will be interesting, but I do have in my names the 3 players. that will be selected for each team. And one shocker I can go ahead and tell you is that Rudy Gobert, who played this past season for San Jose, he will have a new home next year, as he will be moved to the team that had the best record in the Eastern Division, the Montreal Gothics. So not only will he be providing some major center position help for that team, and maybe they'll get a little bit further along in the playoffs for next season. But next season is going to be quite interesting. Now, depending on how long all of this determines whether season 2 begins on Wednesday or Thursday night. But I will let you know how that will go, how that goes as we head into that point in period. But I will let you know on the Twitter account. So we will see what happens here at this point. So yes, very interesting indeed. And Ryan likes the decision made here by the league office. So definitely is going to be highly interesting to see what will happen in the long run. Yes, I truly agree with you, Ryan. Azubuike is an absolute major great name for a league player here in the eXba. So San Francisco Dragons have had their pick in for quite a while. Mark Tatum is going to make the announcement, and here it is. With the 37th pick in the 2020 eXba draft, the San Francisco Dragons select Devon Dotson from the University of Kansas. So obviously he was the most talented prospect coming out of high school, as he found his way onto the eXba roster after getting selected by the Dragons in the second round with the Fly Guys on the draft pick. So Dotson, first pick of the second round, has a very nice shooting form, hits the mid-range shots regularly, good leaper, helps him crash the boards at 6'2", 185, rarely needs the help of a double team, plays very solid man-to-man defense. He averaged 14 points a game this past season at Kansas, and almost 4 rebounds a game, and had just about 5 assists a game and almost 3 steals per game. Shot 40% from the field, 34% from 3-point percentage, and 84% from the free throw line. So someone that is very solid at the free throw line right now. So we'll see what happens here. He does have some badges. Giant Slayer heightens the effectiveness of layups over taller defenders, so he can finish at the rim, which is going to be a big plus for him. He also has 3 badges in playmaking and 1 in defense at getting steals. So no doubt he is going to be a big time plus for the Dragons this coming season for the team. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes the rest of the way. So the Carolina Fly Guys are now on the clock. They made their selection, and they will select A.J. Lawson out of the neighborhood state, South Carolina. So he doesn't have to travel far. 6'6", 178 shooting guard out of University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks. So instant offense type of player. From what I've seen of him, he is the best mid-range jumper in the draft. That type of player will always have teams chasing him. So obviously someone that can really finish well and shoot those mid-range jumpers well for the team, as that's a big plus for him, as we'll see how it goes. He has the potential to develop into something special. Very skilled shooter from deep, and body control is solid, able to make adjustments on the fly, so can pass out of trouble on its way to the rim. So that should be a big help for him. He averaged 13 points a game at South Carolina this past season, almost 4 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, 2 steals, just about 2 steals per game, and 1 block per game. Shot 40% from the field, 37% from deep, so he can be a very effective deep threat, and shot 67% from the free throw line, so maybe not his strength there at the free throw line. So we'll see how AJ Lawson works out for the Fly Guys for this next pick. The City Slickers on the clock and have made their selection. So with the 39th pick, the New York City Slickers select Mambi Diakite from Virginia. So man that can, who really, everybody got to see him really well in the national championship game 2 seasons ago when he helped Virginia win the national championship, along with Kyle Guy and those guys on the team, also DeAndre Hunter. And he decided to go back to college for his senior year, only to have it cut short due to the coronavirus. But obviously he felt not time to go, as he is selected in the second round of the draft. So as scouts fell in love with his can-do attitude and endless work ethic. So fan favorite Virginia Diakite will need to step his game up to make it at the next level. So obviously there are some concerns, but I don't think they're going to be too bad. He only averaged 7 points a game at Virginia, averaged 7 rebounds a game. So he's not a big-time scorer, but he can grab rebounds. Averaged 1 assist a game, 1 steal, and almost 3 blocks per game. So he can protect the rim. Shot only 27% from the field, and shot, he's not a 3 threat. So, and shot 63% from the field, from the free throw line. So can play power forward and small forward, but obviously he should be a good addition to the City Slickers team, as they are in need of some help at power forward. So Carolina Fly Guys with their second pick of the second round, as they select Isaiah Joe from the University of Arkansas. The Hogs make their appearance in the draft with their first pick of the draft right now. Shooting guard, 6'5", 167. His ability to hit the NBA 3 was put on display at the Combine, as he hit more than any player. So this looks to be a great fit for the Fly Guys based on their needs in that department. So obviously, yes, they needed some help in the in that position. So I feel that this is going to be a very solid pick for the Fly Guys for Isaiah Joe. Good finisher, could potentially attack the rim, could develop into a really good player. He can dribble himself open against plus defenders. He averaged 16 points a game, almost 17 at Arkansas, 3 rebounds a game, almost 4 assists a game, had 1 steal per game, shot 40% from the field, 39% from deep, and shot 81% from the free throw line. So very solid player that can make a difference, and we'll see what he can do coming up in the upcoming season, hopefully. So, and then the Bruisers are on the clock now, and they've made their selection at the 41st pick of the draft, and they will select Kira Lewis Jr. from the University of Alabama. So Alabama with their, a couple years ago they had Colin Sexton. Kira Lewis Jr. played alongside Colin Sexton. So Kira Lewis Jr. now joins the eXba as a member of the Philadelphia Bruisers with the 41st pick of the draft. So there were some questions surrounding his work ethic, and no doubt that his dropping down in the second round will no doubt leave him with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. Now, I would fairly say that would be fairly accurate. He was quite a player at Alabama. He was a backup to Colin Sexton when he was there, and kind of developed into his own player after Colin left. So pretty good at holding on to the ball while attacking, finds his own shot, has a very good solid mid-range shooting ability, pretty good vertical leaper overall, a plus athlete. The one, I would say the one comparison that he did have this past season, he took, I felt, way too many threes when they should have looked for a better shot. 6'3", 167, 19 years old, out of the University of Alabama. So he averaged 14 games, 14 points this past season, 3 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game, 2 steals per game, shot 38% from the field and 35% from deep and shot 83% from the free throw line. So someone that can finish the game at the free throw line if needed. So that's going to be a big plus for the team this past season. So the Tempo are on the clock as the pick is in for them, as they will select Marcus Howard, 5'11", 180, out of the University of Marquette at point guard. So they feel that the need is still there. He showed at the draft combine that he has the best mid-range shot of any point guard in the draft. So the Martians will be on the clock next. So this kid, Marcus Howard, averaged 18 points a game, almost had 2 rebounds a game, 6 assists, averaged 6 assists this past season, and almost 1 steal per game. Shot 46% from the field, 41% from 3, and 82% from the free throw line. So very good free throw shooter, someone that can finish the game at the line, and hope that they can do that. And very skilled shooter from mid-range, looks extremely smooth on the court, makes it look easy from an athletic standpoint, and can get shots off without actions being run for him. So we'll see how Marcus Howard does with the Tempo coming up this season. So the Seattle Martians are now on the clock with the San Jose Cyborgs ready with their pick. Better be with only 30 seconds. And the Seattle Martians select the center position, then finally Dante, 6'11" kid out of the University of Oregon. So you had Bol a season ago, now you had N'Faly Dante, and who played in his position this year after Bol went down with an injury, and actually did fairly well for the team. N'Faly Dante is the best interior defender in this class. He will quickly become one of the best in the eXba. I truly feel that may be the difference, as he had a full season to play. He played behind Bol when he was there. Actually played in place of him after Bol went down with his injury, and then decided to wait until he went to the eXba, and no doubt had an incredible season this past season with the San Diego Cyclones. But in N'Faly Dante being taken by the Seattle Martians, it'll be interesting to see how the matchup will be between those two former teammates when that game comes up. A good dunker, really solid finisher overall, fundamentally sound low post defender, gets the job done. Strong vertical leap will help him finish through traffic, so obviously a very good player in that end. Averaged 14 points a game, almost 10 rebounds a game at Oregon, had almost 2 assists a game, 1 steal, and had 3.4 blocks per game. So someone that can really change the aspect of a game with his shot blocking. Shots 43% from the field and 62% from the free throw line, so he'll definitely need to improve on his free throw shooting ability if he's going to really be able to hang well with the studs of the eXba. So we'll see how N'Faly Dante does coming up this season. San Jose Cyborgs on the clock with the 44th pick, and then after them the Alaska Chill are back with their pick in the draft, as the San Jose Cyborgs will select Miles Powell, 6'2", 195 kid out of Seton Hall, the point guard position. So leader for Seton Hall last year, Powell will face an uphill battle to prove that he belongs at the next level. So there could be some concerns, maybe a little bit of a crowded point guard position at San Jose, but with the thing I just told y'all, that may not be too much of an issue overall of how things are going to be after the whole selection of the 3 best players go. We'll see just how crowded San Jose will be. Should have the good success at the eXba level as he matures. Very good one-on-one defender, able to check shifty ball handlers, so able to really go toe-to-toe with the guys that that can really play well. Averaged almost 17 points a game for Seton Hall this past season, 2 rebounds, almost 7 assists a game. Just almost 1 steal per game. Shot 42% from the field, 41% from the three-point line, and shot 81% from the free throw line. So very good player, no doubt, for Miles Powell. So the Alaska Chill on the clock here. Their pick is in with the Pittsburgh Paladins waiting next with their pick. So the Alaska Chill select the big man out of Western Kentucky, 6'11", 235, Charles Bassey with the 45th pick in the eXba draft. So I think he was thinking of possibly a couple of seasons ago, possibly going in the draft. He did not, and so he decided to wait and come into the draft this season. And what a time for him to be selected by the Alaska Chill, as he made more eXba three-pointers than any other center, so someone that can really stretch the floor with his ability. So he should do fairly well in being able to stretch the floor with his ability. He can both contest and block shots at an above average level, so a big plus there for this young man, and could develop into a really good player. He averaged 15 points a game at Western Kentucky this past season, almost 9 rebounds a game, almost 2 assists a game, and at 3.2 and blocked, really stretched the floor well, and shot 81% from the free throw line. So kind of one of those can-do type players. He is going to be an incredibly effective player overall, and I think he's going to be a really good player for the Alaska Chill down the road. So we'll see how it goes this year, as the Paladins are next on the clock. Now the Paladins secured a opening spot in the first round, selecting James Wiseman. Now which way are they going to go here in round number 2? So their selection is in, and they will select Aaron Naismith from Vanderbilt at 6'6", 214, shooting guard, with the 46th pick in the draft. Naismith performed generally well at the draft combine. Scouts weren't impressed by limited upside, which is the main reason he dropped to the second round. So obviously the draft combine did not work too well for him, but second round pick in the draft is actually still very solid for him, as he is labeled as a good finisher, could potentially attack the rim, and has a very solid long range shooting ability. Averaged almost 17 points a game at Vanderbilt, averaged 3 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, 1 steal, and not even close to a block per game. Shot 45% from the field, shot 46% from three-point range, so he can really stretch the floor that way, and had a very good 87% free throw percentage at the line, so someone that can really finish the game well with free throws, and that's a big plus for him. He is a two-way player, can play the shooting guard position, and can also play the small forward position. So two big needs for the Paladins, one at center and then 2 at shooting guard. I feel is definitely the way to go for this team, and I feel they've addressed the needs they needed to so far here in the eXba draft. New York Neon, with their 3rd selection in the draft, are now on the clock, and they will select Neemias Queta from the 7-footer from Utah State, the Aggies, at 225, 7 feet tall, and no doubt scouts don't project him as a high-end NBA player. From what I saw from him at Utah State this past season, leads me to believe otherwise. So the Neon go with Neemias Queta, the 7-footer out of Utah State. So a big plus for him. as we'll look at the tail of the tape on this young man. Solid shot blocker, solid defender, controls the defensive low post well with his aggressive play, shows a lot of heart when rebounding, finds a way to get to the ball, so someone that can really rebound the ball well. Doesn't score a whole lot. He only averaged almost 10 points a game at Utah State, but he can grab the rebounds. He averaged 10 rebounds a game this past season. Had 1.5 in assists per game, 1 steal per game, and almost 2 blocks per game. So he could be a big potential helpful pick. Yep, 48% field goal percentage from the field, and but a very woeful 62% at the free throw line. Yep, he is tall, 7 feet tall at Utah State. So we'll see how this young man will do overall in the long run. So Neemias Queta, taken by the Neon with their 3rd pick in the draft. They had 2 picks in the first round. This is their 3rd pick in the 2nd round. So the Wisconsin Bandits now on the clock, and who will they choose? They will take Jima Gatwich out of high school, 6'4", 170 shooting guard. So obviously they felt the need for shooting guard. So as a player we've taken in the back half of the first round, the Bandits have to be ecstatic to get him at this spot in the 2nd round. So no doubt Wisconsin is very pleased in getting this young man. He is 19 years old, just out of high school. Should be able to provide rim protection, gets to the rim with ease, makes the most of his opportunities when he's there. Tremendous finisher, plays above the rim. And we're not able to get his high school stats, but from what I heard, he is fairly effective. Now, he does have some impressive badges here. He can throw the alley-oops and also finish dunks too off of alley-oops. Boosts the ability to make layups that have a high degree of difficulty, and improves the ability to convert contact layups and dunks and traffic. So someone that can take the punishment even at 6'4", 170. That's pretty impressive to me. So the Nashville Tempo on the clock. Nashville Tempo are now on the clock with the 49th pick of the draft. And just to let you know how many more picks do we have here in the 2nd round. We're right now at the 49th pick, which is 13th overall here in the round, as we go all the way down to the 36th pick, which is the Vortex it looks like the Cyclones do have a pick at the 23rd pick here. The Cyborgs, I tell you, they must have really scored a deal getting some serious picks in the 2nd round, because they certainly secured that, and so did Neptunes with back-to-back picks here in the 2nd round. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. So the Nashville Tempo will take Ochai Agbaji from the University of Kansas at shooting guard, 6'5", 210. A man that can really, once projected as high as middle of the 1st round, he'll have to settle starting his XBA journey as a 2nd round selection. Scouts question his mettle. This will certainly be a good test of that. So obviously someone that felt that he should have been picked in the 1st round, he fell all the way to the 2nd round. Agbaji out of the University of Kansas. Good leaper, helps him crash the boards at 6'5", 210, and can also play very solid man-to-man defense and decent one-on-one defender, usually able to stay with those shiftier guys. Averaged almost 14 points a game this past season at Kansas, alongside Azubuike. Just about averaged 5 rebounds a game, almost 3 assists a game, 2 steals per game, a block per game. Shot 35% from the field, 28% from deep, and 75% from the free throw line. So decent player at the line. Maybe possibly someone that you want to have on the free throw line at clutch time. We will see this season goes, and see how Abaji can help the Nashville tempo in those crucial moments of big times. Now, overall, very good player at 70. So we'll see what he can bring to the table. So the Pilgrims on the clock now. Oh yeah, Yao Ming was tall, 7'6". So very good player there. Boston Pilgrims are now on the clock, and they will select Ashton Hagens, the University of Kentucky at point guard, 6'3", 192. So when looking at the current Pilgrims roster, I'm not sure where Hagens fits into that jigsaw puzzle. I expect he will be spending some time in the G League this upcoming season to hone his craft, so that could very well be a possibility for Ashton Hagens, possibly be sent down to the X League, as I call it, not the G League, the X League. So the X League 2, as we'll call it, XBA 2, that's what we call the minor league system. But Ashton Hagens taken. He's a 70 overall. I think he should be able to maybe find his way. He kind of has a build of Tony Bennett and Raymond Felton. Has good passing fundamentals, tends to hit teammates in their shooting pockets, so someone that can really get the ball to his players. He possesses sound defensive fundamentals. He averaged 13 points a game this past season at Kentucky. Had 3 rebounds a game, 5 assists a game, almost 3 steals per game. Shot 43% from the field, 37% from deep, and a very good 84% at the free throw line. So a very solid player there. So how he'll fit in the Pilgrims lineup, we will find out. And of course, they're how a lot of these kids are going to be working into the summer league. How well that will go, we will find out. And then also get ready for season number 2. So the Washington Founders now on the clock, getting ready for their 51st pick before the Neptunes go back to back in their picks at 52 and 53. And the Founders will select Cassius Stanley out of the University of Duke. So pick number 5 for Duke. 4 in the first round and 1, their first one here in the second round. So 6'6", 193. Cassius Stanley, a shooting guard out of Duke. Founders told me heading in the draft that they were after a shooting guard that can outmuscle his opponent. Stanley fits that bill. For my money, he is easily the strongest shooting guard in the draft. So no doubt, the Founders hoping that they have found a very solid player. Overall is very good at 70, as he is able to make adjustments on drives to the rim, has very good vertical leap, and is pretty good at holding on to the ball while attacking, finds his own shot, doesn't turn the ball over. So he averaged 13 points a game this past season at Duke, 4 rebounds a game, almost 3 assists a game, almost 3 steals a game, and almost 2 blocks per game. Shot 39% from the field, 26% from deep, and a very woeful 67% from the free throw line. So we'll see what happens here this season. Could there be some concern of the fact that he is a little light? But we will find out this season of how he can do here in the XBA this season. And yes, Duke representing well tonight. 5 picks in the draft, 4 in the first, 1 here in the second round. So the Neptunes down on the clock as they have back-to-back picks, and they have made their selection. Cassius Winston, a point guard out of Michigan State, at 6'1", 185. And Winston has to be disappointed to fall into the second round. But I really feel like the Neptunes organization is one that will give him the best opportunity to succeed. So I feel that could be the deciding factor too. I think that he's with an organization that needs help, and I feel that they will be able to do what needs to do. Natural playmaker will make his teammates better, so that's a good plus side to him. Has the potential to develop into something special. So we'll see what happens here. He averaged 15 points a game this past season, almost 2 rebounds a game, 6 assists a game, almost 1 steal per game. Shot 42% from the field, 36% from deep, and 78% from the free throw line. So pretty decent all around. And how well will he fit in with the Neptunes tonight? Neptunes in the upcoming season, we will find out. So should be interesting how everything will be in the long run here. Neptunes also with the 53rd pick in the draft, and they will take Andrew Nembhard out of the University of Florida. So Gator fans, yep, get excited. Your second pick of the draft here. Scotty Lewis in the first round. Andrew Nembhard here in the second round, as he is selected by the New Orleans Neptunes. So as he had the bet, as he's saying, this Siku Smith is saying that he feels that Nembhard has the best court vision he's seen in a decade. His best in the nation, 9.6 assists per game last season. Can really hammer that point home. So someone that can really dish the rock and do it well. It seems to be Nembhard's big plus for him. So maybe not so quick with the points. He only averaged 10 points per game this past season at Florida, but like he said, almost averaged 10 assists a game. Shot 39% from the field, 32% from 3, and 82% from the free throw line. So solid player all around that can really do things well, and has 2 badges in playmaking, which he can pass the tough passes through the defense, and is a lob city finisher. Chances of completing a successful alley pass. So very good for the Neptunes, getting Cassius Winston and Andrew Nembhard to the team. So we'll see just how that goes for them. Baltimore Cannons on the clock here, as they are ready with their selection, and they will take the son of Shaquille O'Neal, Sharif O'Neal, 6'9", 224 out of UCLA at power forward. So not only did they grab a power forward earlier in the draft in the first round, and Obi Toppin, but they get I think a really good good backup for him in Sharif O'Neal, the son of Shaquille O'Neal. So, and he is a very good mid-range shooter, shot very well at the combine, and no doubt will undoubtedly be a big help for the Cannons. Cannons felt that power forward was their really weakest position, and no doubt they have certainly done well in getting that tonight. Good dunker, really solid finisher overall. Looks like he has potential to be something in this league. Good at holding his spots. Very few guys can move him once he's established himself, so can play the post position very, very well. Averaged 15 points a game this past season at UCLA before having to sit out the rest of the season due to heart trouble. Had 7 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, almost a steal a game, 2 blocks per game. Shot 43% from the field, and unlike his daddy, he can actually hit the 3-point shot. Has shot 30% from deep and shot 73% from the free throw line. So a really solid pick for the Baltimore Cannons, and getting back-to-back picks in the power forward position, and Obi Toppin and Sharif O'Neal. So very good, solid picks here for the Cannons. Obviously, they felt Jamal Jack is just not going to be able to play as well as they hoped. So this is why they decided to go back-to-back with power forwards in the draft. So the Bruisers, yes, he can hit free throws too. So unlike his daddy, who struggled with free throws, and his daddy couldn't even hit a three-pointer to save his life, Sharif O'Neal can do both. So it will be interesting to see what he brings to the table for the Baltimore Cannons. Bruisers are on the clock. Their pick has been made, and they will select Paul Reed from DePaul University. Power forward, 6'9", 215. So the Bruisers bulking up in the power forward position. So he had hoped that he would be gone in the first round, but that was not to be. So the Bruisers take him in the second round. A man that can, I feel, bring some good qualities to the team, can grab rebounds over larger players, has a good amount of upside. Be patient, he can develop, should be able to provide rim protection, has a very good vertical leap. So someone that can really get up there and contest shots at the rim. I averaged 11 points per game this past season, 8 rebounds a game, 1 assist per game, 1 steal, and almost 2 blocks per game at the power forward position. Shot 44% from the field, 42% from 3, so he can hit the deep shot, and shot 78% from the free throw line. So decent player there at that position for the Bruisers. So hopefully he can bring some good stuff. Yeah, he also brings defense and rebounding badges with him, ability to box out opponents, and improves the player's ability to chase down rebounds. So obviously someone that can really hustle and get those rebounds when they need them. That's going to be a big plus for them. BC Chicago on the clock now. And as they are the 56th pick in the draft, and who will they be picking here in the 56th pack? So Artur Zagers from Latvia. So point guard position. So again, with another team with a concern of a certain position, especially with Goran Dragic being he'll be 35 this coming up season. They don't know how much more get up and go that young man has. So that's why they went back to back in the point guard position in these last 2 picks. Trey Jones and now Artur Zagers. So from Latvia. So famed for being a walk-on. He is now officially an XBA player following his second round selection. His story is one of hard work and perseverance. So we'll see just how well he will do in the XBA, and hopefully tremendous upside for this young man. 19 years old, 6'3", 172, has solid mid-range shooting ability, can also hit the deep, and also can attack the rim. So averaged 17 points a game for his country at Latvia, had 2 rebounds a game, 6 assists a game, and shot 45% from the field, 43% from deep, and shot 76% from the free throw line. So solid player all around. I feel is going to be quite a player for BC Chicago coming in to this draft. So we'll see how Zagers will work out for them. So Jacksonville Jump, the runners-up in the grand finals, are now on the clock in the 57th pick of the draft. And who will they choose? They will select Oscar Schwabe out of West Virginia. 6'9", 245 out of West Virginia, power forward. So they feel that the need for power forward position is needed there. He's also someone that can run, since Jacksonville likes to run the fast break, up-tempo type offense. This obviously would be the man for that type of offense. He can get up and down the court fairly quick, as he showed at the draft combine. So big plus for him too. There should be fundamentally sound and low post defender, can hold his own, show some promise as a shot blocker, and looks like he has potential to be something in this league. He averaged almost double numbers with West Virginia, almost 10 points a game and almost 9 rebounds a game. So pretty close there. 1 assist per game, 1 steal, 1 block per game at 6'9", 245 shots, 41% from the field, and 69% at the free throw line. So someone that needs to improve on the free throw numbers, but he can also play two-way player. He can play the power forward position, which was his natural position, and he can also play center too. So I feel the Jump got themselves a pretty good player here. Also, to hopefully also help Mitchell Robinson and Cody Zeller, if need to be, at the power forward position for the Jump. So the Cyborgs on the clock now. San Jose Cyborgs are on the clock as they will select Killian Tilly, 6'10" young man out of the University of Gonzaga, at 220. Power forward selection there. Yes, he was a star at Gonzaga, but the scouts question how well his game will adapt to the eXba level, which is why he has dropped. That they don't feel that he can't play in this league, but they feel that maybe there will be some stretch ability here. Very comfortable shooting the mid-range shot and can hit the three with some consistency. So someone that can stretch the floor well. And he averaged 17 points a game this past season at Gonzaga, 4 rebounds a game. So he's not much for rebounding. 2 rebounds a game, 2 assists a game, and shot 43% from the field and 44% from deep. So someone that can hit the deep three, and also had 71% from the free throw line, and also carries catch and shoot and pick popper. So he can elevates the shot percentage for attempt taken off of a pick and fade situation. So he can hit those. So he can also do a very good catch and shoot type of player. So I think the Cyborgs got themselves a good player that can hopefully help them turn some games around for them this past season than they did this season. So the Cyclones are now on the clock, the defending champs, and they will select Tyler Bay, a power forward out of 6'7", 218, out of the University of Colorado. So I feel this is a solid pick for the Cyclones, really addressing some needs that I guess they felt they need to, as he showed tremendous athleticism at the draft combine with a 40-inch vertical, highest amongst all attending power forwards. So someone that can really get up there and protect the rim against shooters, and so that really puts the fact of in the fact that he should be able to protect the rim, and when somebody tries to drive down the lane. So he averaged 13 points a game this past season at Colorado, 7 rebounds a game, and almost 3 blocks per game for the team. Field goal percentage, he shot 35% and shot 29% from deep and 84% from the free throw line, and is a two-way player at small forward and power forward. So I think he'll do fairly well for the team this year, for the champs this year. So we'll see how everything kind of works out in that end. Dallas Barons are now on the clock as we are getting down to the nitty-gritty of the draft here. Now we go from where we were looking at stats and everything else. Now we're just going to be looking at selections of the draft at this point of the draft. So the Barons are on the clock. They will be selecting who they will be getting, as they will select in the 60th pick in the eXba draft. The Dallas Barons select Reggie Perry from Mississippi State. So an SEC school once again represented here in the draft, with LSU, Alabama, Mississippi State, Florida all being well represented here in the draft. As Steele in the second round, Perry is a humble and versatile player who will work hard every day. He has the potential to be a contributing rotational player right away. So someone that could hopefully really turn some heads, hopefully, for the team, as we'll see how it goes from here on out. The Jacksonville Jump are again on the clock, looking to fill those needs that they need to, as they will select the big man out of Kansas, Odoke Azubuike, 7-footer out of Kansas, 270, and no doubt a tremendous improvement in the center position over Mitchell Robinson, someone that can finish with someone that can finish strong at the rim, and also a very effective shot blocker. Not to say Mitchell Robinson was an effective shot blocker himself this past season, but his scoring load was very low for the team, and that was quite heavily exposed in the finals against San Diego. So the Jacksonville felt like they needed to upgrade in the center position. Not to say that Cody Zeller sure didn't do a heck of a job himself, but this is a dynamite pick for the Jump. Someone that can tough shot blocker, someone that can really finish the ball well at the rim, and another in the long line of centers from Kansas, starting from guys like Wilt Chamberlain to now Azubuike and the big man from the El Paso Peppers this past season. So long line of centers coming out of Kansas. Kansas seems to be a a factory for centers. So with a time of 3.5 seconds, Azubuike wowed the scouts in attendance at the draft combine with his electrifying three-quarter court sprint time. So someone that can get up and down the court, very effective as Jacksonville runs that fast go offense. So I feel Steve Clifford did a heck of a job, and the guys in the office picking up Odoke Azubuike. So the Tampa Bay Sting are on the clock now, and who will they be selecting in the 62nd pick of the draft here? And they will go with the son of a former NBA player, Kenyon Martin Jr., 6'7", 195 out of IMG Academy, power forward position. So needless to say, maybe probably needs to bulk up just a little bit at 6'7", 195 if he is going to play that hard power forward position. But once again, the Tampa Bay Sting going at a position they feel they need to improve on this upcoming season. So how well will Kenyon Martin Jr. do? We will find out this coming up in the season. So the Bruisers are now on the clock with the 63rd pick in the draft. They also have the 66th pick in the draft, and they will select Martin Bishop out of Missouri, 6 foot 185 point guard out of Missouri, and a solid playmaker himself. He's a self-made player who can be a solid role player for the Bruisers. A nice selection at this point in the draft. So obviously they felt they needed to upgrade a bit in the point guard position for Philly. So this should be a solid pick for the Philadelphia Bruisers. So the Colliers are now on the clock with the 64th pick of the eXba draft, and they will take Trevor Anthony out of St. Bonaventure, the Bonnies out of St. Bonaventure, 6'2", 180 at point guard. A very deserving player who was a starter at St. Bonaventure. Anthony will have to fight hard to make the eXba roster. So will there be enough room in the tank for him? We will find out as we will look towards a very hopefully good future for the Colliers. Now the Anaheim Supernovas now on the clock, as they will have the 65th pick of the draft, and they will take Jonathan Young, 6'2", 196 point guard out of State Fair Community College. as they will kind of an unsung hero here, kid, but we'll see how he will do. We'll see how he will do coming out of a community college. So we don't get to see many of these young men, but it'll be interesting to see how well he will do at this next level. So interesting pick for the Supernovas at the 65th position. So 66th position, the Bruisers once again up on the draft. And then of course you have the Neptunes, the Cyborgs with back-to-back picks. Bruisers will select Jonathan Hawkins, 6'8", 203 out of Northwestern, power forward. Solid player at power forward. Enigma, who is often cited as the most talented prospect coming out of high school, as he finds his way onto the Bruisers roster after getting selected in the second round. So a good player himself. How well will he do with the Philadelphia system? We will find out. So the Neptunes are now on the clock with the 67th pick, as we are steadily getting towards the end here. As we are rolling right along the Cyborgs with back-to-back picks, the Jacks, the Gothics, and then the Vortex with the final pick of round 2. So we are so close to the end here. So the Neptunes will now select their player, and that is Harry Paul, 6'8", 213, small forward out of the University of Kentucky. So again, a guy coming out of Kentucky who could potentially be a big-time player for the team, and we'll see how it goes from there with this team as they get ready for the draft, as they get ready to get ready for the summer league and see how he performs there, and then see whether maybe he will make the roster for the upcoming season, or maybe get sent down to the X League and the eXba2 league. Maybe bulk up some, maybe bulk himself up just a bit and get him going. So as we get ready for the Cyborgs, back-to-back picks, number 68 and 69, as they will select their pick. They have made their pick, and they will select James Drew, point guard, 6 feet, 161 out of Clemson, University of Clemson, the Clemson Tigers. First time they've been represented here in the draft so far tonight. As again, someone that can hopefully be a good potential player for the Cyborgs once again. So we'll see how it goes here. So Cyborgs again with the back-to-back picks here, and they will pick Lonnie Harden. Pick here. So, and we'll see how Lonnie Harden works into the time frame of for the Cyborgs at point guard. So the Jacks now on the clock at the 70th pick. 3 more picks to go here, as the Gothics and the Vortex will finish up tonight's XBA draft. So Lloyd Duncan has been picked at point guard for the Las Vegas Jacks, which is interesting. Interesting pick here with the fact of what they got coming, with the solid point guard they have now, but of course having backups isn't too bad either. Or maybe he could be sent down to, maybe send him down to the X League, maybe get himself some play time over there and get himself up there a little bit here. Yet ACC is representing well in the draft here, no doubt. So no-brainer pick here with the Jacks, going for the best player available in Lloyd Duncan, a strategy that more teams need to utilize, honestly. So Whitaker feels that they made the right decision by picking that young man. So the Montreal Gothics now on the clock here, as we have the final 2 picks of the draft here tonight, here in the XBA draft. So can't believe it, but we are almost here at the end of tonight's draft. This is why I started with the pregame show, with the pre-draft show at 9:30, and then continued on with everything else here tonight. Yes, 3 hours, and so far we are 3 hours and 10 minutes into this thing. So the Montreal Gothics on the clock. They have made their selection, and they will select Andrew Nixon, a small forward, 6'8", out of 241 out of University of Gonzaga. So both him and Killian Tilly taken out of Gonzaga. So the last two drafts, really, Gonzaga has been well represented with guys like Rua Hachimura, Brandon Clark, Killian Tilly, and now Andrew Nixon coming out of the University of Gonzaga, and back-to-back drafts here. So 71st pick, as he registered a 44-inch vertical at the combine last month, showing the best vert in the entire draft class. So that's quite impressive for a young man coming out and playing behind people like Brandon Clark and Rua Hachimura, and able to kind of come into his own in his season at Gonzaga. So the 72nd pick, the final pick of the draft tonight, is finally here. The Vancouver Vortex are on the clock once again. And who will they be selecting? As we'll take a quick look here at round number 2, as we have really kind of dipped off just a little bit here at the end, but I feel a lot of these players here could be potential X-League players. Yeah, get their shot at the X-League, and get some, PT time in there, and improve their craft to a point. So that's going to be a big plus there for the team. So for each team. So improvement is always going to be a big plus here. So the Vortex have made their selection. The final pick, the 72nd pick of the XBA draft here tonight, and that goes to Clinton Best, 6'5", 218, young man of Clemson University, Clemson Tigers. Second player picked in the second round out of Clemson here tonight. The ACC once again represented very well here tonight, as Clinton Best picked by the Vancouver Vortex at shooting guard. So no doubt he is that type of player. So that concludes the final pick of the draft. Clinton Best, who, the X League is really where he might be eligible to really hopefully play, and he does have a badge, a catch and shoot, so he can shoot the shot. He can hit the jumpers well. Should be able to hit jumpers from beyond the three-point line regularly. So we'll see how it kind of goes in the whole aspect of everything. But this completes the XBA draft for tonight. So it must be a big time. So I can't believe we got through it, but we did. So tonight, again, the New York Neon selecting Cole Anthony as the number 1 pick in the draft, and then Anthony Edwards taken by the Columbus Basket Hounds. And how will some of these guys be doing down the road, and everything, how it goes, we will find out. The Paladins taking James Wiseman, Scotty Lewis taken by the Chill, Josh Green by the Cyborgs. That one was a little bit of a head scratcher to me, but then solid picks the rest of the way for the Bandits, the Lawmen, and Neon. The Pilgrims picking up the first Duke player, Vernon Carey, and then Trey Jones going to BC Chicago. So it's going to be a good, and then of course Baltimore landing a solid pick with Obi Toppin, and I feel that he is going to be a game changer for that team, and it's going to be interesting here. Yes, very good draft, great selections. Looks forward to seeing these fellows on the court. Oh, most definitely. I cannot wait myself to see how some of these guys are going to be playing in the Summer League. and then as we get ready for the big time. And for some teams, I really felt tonight they addressed severe needs that they needed to, and I felt that a good bit of teams really did that tonight. Cannons were one, the jump was second, so it is going to be interesting here. Hey, bloke, what's going on? How you doing tonight? We're just doing an XBA draft here, as we are getting close to the end of the stream here tonight, my friend. Thanks for joining in and coming along on the ride with us here tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see how things kind of go here. It's going to be, yeah, I truly feel that the draft has been highly successful for tonight, and I can't wait to see what the Summer League is going to bring once we get to this point here, to kind of see what some of these kids are going to be like. And then as we get ready for the 2K Hoop Summit, to see the next year's class and see how well they will perform in the big time. And then, of course, training camp. Got to improve some of these players and get them ready for the upcoming season. So it is going to be, it'll be interesting to see how things will work out. I appreciate that, bloke. Thanks for subbing, and I will make sure I do the same, my friend. So thank you very much for subbing to the channel. I certainly appreciate it. So tonight we've hit the end of the XBA draft here for tonight. Certainly appreciate Mike, Lady, and Ryan for joining us on this very, very long journey here tonight. But I feel that there's been some good picks here tonight. Some needs have been met for some teams, so we'll see what it'll look like in the future run of tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight before my voice goes totally out the door. So and I will let you know. I'm looking either Wednesday or Thursday as either getting ready to get season 2 underway. Once I get through everything else that I need to get taken care of with free agency and all the other stuff I mentioned earlier tonight. So Mike, Lady, and Ryan, thank you for joining my stream tonight. I certainly do, as always, appreciate it. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the kind words, and I will very much appreciate that. And great drafting tonight. I will definitely get some sleep and work on this tomorrow and see what goes on. But as always, keep abreast of my Twitter feed, as always, as I will let you know. I'm either looking at either Wednesday or Thursday and really get season 2 underway and see some of these young guys come in the new league, come into the new season, and see what we look like, see what some teams are going to be looking like coming up this coming season. So it will be interesting to see what happens here. So until then, as always, tell those closest to you that you love them, and as always, tell those closest to you that you love them. And as always, buckle up for safety out there. Stay well, stay safe, and as always, keep God number one. God bless everyone, and have yourself a great evening.